You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Earnestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, this April has been lit. I'm just like, what is 2023? Okay, it's always those odd years, you know? I was born in 91. My husband was born in 95. A lot of good people, those odd years. My mother was born in 71. Yeah, the odd years. My younger brother, 2003. It's the odd years. It's always the odd years. Nothing against the even years, but the odd years always things pop off. You think about 2001, what happened in 2001. You think about, Beyonce, who was born in 81. It's the odd years for me. I just feel like the odd years, that's when things go down. And this is an odd year. And odd things have happened in 2003. But this month, though, politicians always talk about the October surprise around presidential elections. But here we are in April, and we have now arrived at some April surprises. And there might be more in store when it comes to the mayor's race, when it comes to everything else. And I remember saying, I think a couple of podcasts, I said, things just seem to be too quiet. Where's the smoke? Well, last week we got some smoke. Some big shit happening. Some things that I was hinting at, thinking about, tiptoeing around. Just something in me felt like something was going to go down. And a lot has went down this past week. And what's in this week as well, I'm over here sipping on me some liquid death, because the truth behind liquid death is death to, plastic. Because this is sparkling water, and I really love this Liquid Death sparkling water. Death to plastic bottles. I'm really trying to encourage my friends to stop drinking bottled water. Drink your water in cans. Now, I know there's that box water, but this Liquid Death in a can is just doing wonders, I alternate between my sparkling waters and all of my waters, but they're all canned. And it's important to do such. This weekend, my husband with his boss, who is elected official, they did a cleanup in West Philly, picking up trash and recycling. And we have a cute little recycling bin. We're going to, do our keep it green. And I have been very environmental over the past couple of years. A lot of it stemmed from the pandemic, just hearing about what's going on with trash. And let me just say that for some elected officials, they think dumping their trash in Chester and just leaving it there and having environmental racism is okay. But we'll get more into that later in this conversation. But I'm over here sipping on my Liquid Death and having a cute little time. But I'm just super excited about this upcoming week. Last week had a lot of interesting surprises. And I'm just moving on and moving forward, just in various aspects, there are some people, at that little old organization that I'm not even going to give a name to. And I want to say, before I get into just everything else in general, is that, in life, when you make decisions and you decide to let go of toxic places and institutions, right? And you decide to sever ties from certain groups and organizations. You know what I'm talking about. I think people expect for you to have a sense of remorse, or this sense of disappointment or shame or embarrassment. And when you look at your life, sometimes you just are like, there's so many things going on that's fulfilling, that's calling on you to pay attention, that whatever that feeling that you thought you were supposed to have, or that emotion, you realize that it had left you so long ago when you were going through the trials and the tribulations and the drama and the issues. And, for so many of my listeners and my friends and fans and followers who got their own situations, sometimes you're like waiting and you're thinking, there's going to be this feeling, there's going to be this, this sense that you're supposed to expect. And you realize that doesn't occur. And maybe it doesn't occur because when you was in the battles and you was in the arguments, you was in the debates, whether you leave a job, whether you leave an organization you was a member of, whether you cut ties with a relationship or a friendship, whatever the case is, you sometimes feel like people tell you around you that you're supposed to feel something. There's supposed to be some, level of fucks to be given. And then you realize that feeling that you're supposed to have, that weight, it's just not there. And sometimes it's because maybe as you begin to grow and evolve, or you begin to break up or cut ties with the person, institution, the place, it becomes clear to you that while you were fighting those battles, each of those arguments, each of those debates was taking you farther and farther away from the person or the institution. And you get to the point where you're like out of sight, out of mind. And, to be fully transparent, my departure, as you all know, from that other journalism organization, it's been about over 2 weeks, and now people are starting to talk about it and weigh in. There's some events happening within that organization across the country, and the girls are having, cocktails and gossip about it all. And, there's a part of me that, people have come back to me and told me certain things, and I'm like, for some reason, I'm just not, I don't care. Like, I'm not angry. I don't feel a sense of betrayal. I just kind of am like, okay. And what has been interesting the most is going through this exit has been recognizing that I have so many opportunities and things going on in my life that's really been preoccupying me that I haven't really been able to fixate on any of the bullshit. And that's a good thing. And it's interesting because if this was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, when I look at how I've personally grown and evolved, the things that I would have given so much time to over contemplate and over analyze and overthink and debate and debacle, now I'm just at a place where I'm just kind of like, I just see other things as pressing and calling my time. And maybe it's because none of these things were necessarily paying me. None of these things were necessarily fulfilling me. I poured more into it than it was pouring into me. And it's made me begin to reflect on all of the various collaborations and projects and things I've been working on and asking myself, am I getting some level of reciprocity? No, nothing's ever going to always be 50-50. But am I feeling some fulfillment in this work or in this situation or this dynamic? And if it's only based on obligatory things or identity politics or this is a Black organization, so I got to stick beside it. Sometimes, especially being a Black queer young person, as a millennial, as somebody who is, not the average age of the membership of that group, I begin to tell myself, I'm not going to subject myself to disrespect just so I can be in quote unquote community. Because to me, if I'm being disrespected, if I'm not being heard, if I'm being gaslighted, if I'm being subjected to all of this type of levels of disregard, then is that really community? Community isn't just simply the origins or the appearance of a community. Community is really about the type of ways in which we treat each other, engage each other, fulfill each other, support each other. And sometimes I think people assume community based on just identity alone. Identity is not the only thing that should create a community. And I've learned that as a Black queer person, that in some queer spaces, I don't feel a sense of community. Because sometimes it's just plain old racism, ageism, classism. And I'm just like, I can't fuck with this group. That's what a lot of my reporting on neighborhood racism was about, was that while the rest of the city or the straights were telling me about, this is your community because you're gay or you're queer. What about this and that? And I just I feel a disconnect. This is not my community. This is not the community that I belong to. That there's nuances and there's different tribes that I belong to as different tribe. That I stopped really using the word community as much, and I'm using the word tribe because we see that in various communities, quote unquote, it is the tribes that people really prescribe to that really creates that sense of community. Like, this outward large swath of community is just kind of performative. It's kind of a mirage. And we're seeing that in various ways in these elections and how people think Black voters think and whatnot. And I have more to say on that later in the podcast, but that was just something that was propelling me. And so, when I look at where I'm now and when I'm in certain Black spaces, I'm not the kind of person that's like, I don't feel included in the Black community or the gay community. I'm not going to Miguel this. I'm not going to, you know, Tinashe this or play the mixed race person that's like, I'm too black in white spaces and I'm too white in black spaces. That's just not that. I'm not going to play that game. There's no dichotomy for me. What it is there are fucked up people in various communities, and you just have to go find your tribe with your people. So I have space with black people. I'm black and I'm beautiful and I'm proud. And I find tribes of black people that carry the understanding and the intersectionality that I believe is necessary, right? I find community and tribe in the black queer spaces and just queer spaces in general that I belong to. And it's not this universal location or this governmental state sanctioned space, right? So some people think the neighborhood is the space. It's a government piece of land. It's property, it's real estate, but that doesn't define the essence and the core of what community and tribe is. And so when I think about the tribe that I have, it's not just all black queer people. It's I have some really nice white people that are queer in this space. Like I think about my great friend Chris Bartlett. I have Latinx people that I think of, like Miguel and others. And I have incredible women and trans people that are in that space. And so I think about the things that fulfill me. And I think we all as people should start really navigating, creating tribe and not feeling like there has to be this broad, oh, this is this. When I think about black journalism space, sure, I'm not a part of NABJ anymore, right? The girls didn't want me there, or the board didn't want me there. Let's be clear. The membership loves me to death. But for me, does that mean I don't fuck with black journalists? No. It just means that that particular group is what they do, right? I have the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists. I have black journalists I rock with, the Online News Association, the Association of LGBTQ journalists, and other groups. And so I find those tribes in those places, and I feel the fulfillment there. And the work continues, right? And so I think that's something that I've learned over the year, and I think maybe that's why I don't feel so bad about anything, because I think it's more about recognizing that community and tribes are what you make of it and what you create for yourself. Because even if you are a part of a larger quote unquote community, you still got the people you fuck with, right? Like everyone's not this monolithic collection of people. They just don't. I think we love this appearance of the face of it all, but I wonder, is it because of the white gaze that we feel the need to have that? Or do we feel like it's just supposed to happen because of X, Y, and Z? Like, I'm never going to feel this need to perform unity if I'm being fucked over behind the scenes. Fuck that. Like, if it's toxic and it's violent, I'm not going to sit up and paint lipstick on something that's not what it is. Mm. You could just miss me with that, period. So, this week has been exciting. So before I get into it, first of all, shout out to the Jefferson Collaborative for Health Equity. I need to shout them out because last week I did some media consultation for them through an incredible woman who had an incredible project she's working on. She's doing a lot of media branding and training for them. And I had a lovely contract. The girl does media, the doll does media consulting. My company, Ernest Media Empire LLC, does media production, consulting, communications. So if you are a company out there that wants my services, knock, knock, who's there? So yeah, I got a really great opportunity to do some media consulting with Jefferson Collaborative for Health Equity, which they're doing some incredible work around the areas of health equity. I mean, they're getting into communities, expressing resources and information to vulnerable populations that are impacted with health disparities. And that's Black and brown people in Philadelphia. Let's just keep it 100. But they're doing some great work. I was talking to practitioners and educators and navigators. They're doing some great work. And their staff and the people that work there look like the community and talk like the community. And so it was an incredible opportunity to train them and get them ready to engage the media, prepare them for interviews and all this great stuff. So that was awesome. But what was even super dope is that the lead consultant who was doing training with them purchased dozens of copies of my book, The Case for Council Culture, and each one of them received an autographed copy of my book. And they were excited. And I was like, oh shit. So it was dope. So it was great. It was a great day last week. Got to meet them. Took pictures, signed so many copies, and they were all dope. The Jefferson team over there was super excited about me, and they were fans, and who would have known? And so it was just great. So I look forward to doing some really great things with them, and the cool aspect of being able to do my thing and then also sign books. I didn't even know the book element was going to be a part of it, but that was something that apparently they wanted. So it was a super dope opportunity, and look forward to working with them some more. Well, Tuesday, April 18th, I will be at Bayou, which is next door to Booker's. Okay, next door to Booker's. I will be at Bayou, which is owned by the new couple, the Syfaxes. Cherie? I think it's Cherie and Tracy Syfax. They own Booker's now. They own Booker's and Bayou. So people who are longtime Booker's lovers, you might have known that Saba, who is the beloved Saba, she sold Booker's to these people for $2.3 million. Yeah, she's a multimillionaire now. She sold it to them. They bought it. They now own this restaurant. And the co-owner, their husband and wife couple, Cherie, has a book of her own that has already came out. It came out on the same day as my book, but it's self-published, and it's called Second Act. And she's doing a book signing at Bayou, which is right next door to Booker's in West Philly on Baltimore Avenue. And she called me along to be a part of this book experience. So we're both going to be selling copies of our book through Harriet's on location at 7:30, Tuesday, April 18th at 7:30. We'll be in conversation with a journalist named Cherry Gregg. Okay, Ernest, don't be shady. No, I'm joking. I can't edit the show, so I'm not going to edit the show. Well, she's going to be moderating the conversation. I didn't choose her. That, Cherie chose her, and, I respect the host's decision. It should be a lively conversation, and we'll be talking about our books. So I'm excited. So if you have not gotten a copy of The Case for Cancel Culture yet, or you bought a copy, or you want to buy another copy because let me put y'all a little bit on a side note right quick. Just some etiquette for book signings. For people who do not know this, if you hear this podcast before you come, if you come, it's free admission. There'll probably be some foods and some drinks and some things. So come through. It's a Black-owned restaurant, Black-owned lounge, Black-owned everything. So if you want to come, get some bites, support the girl, whatever. Let me tell you some etiquette about book signings. When you go to a book signing, you do not bring an outside book. Now, if you plan to buy a book, you need to buy a book at the signing. So let's say you say, look, I already got a copy, Ernest, now what? Well, buy a copy for your cousin or your auntie or your mama or somebody else, or have a copy that's autographed, and then the other one that's not autographed, just use that one where you can highlight and put notes. But you do not buy a book. You do not bring an outside book to a book signing for someone to sign at a book signing. Now, let's say you catch me down the street and you just so happen to keep a copy of The Case of Cancel Culture in your purse or your backpack or your telfeezy. Let's say that happens and you see me down the street. You catch me at Rittenhouse. Because some of y'all done caught me out and about. Y'all done caught me at the Whole Foods over there. Who had a copy? Don't Shay, I love this person. This person, a really cool fan. I'm not even going to call them out. But they caught me at the Whole Foods at the Parkway near the museum. And they had a copy of my book in their Telfar bag. They pulled that book out, okay? I had a Sharpie in my Telfar, and I had the silver one that day. More on that in a minute. But I had my Sharpie, and I signed their copy in the grocery store. There were people looking around like, who is that? But it was a thing. So if you catch me down the street, you got a copy of your book, and you catch me downtown or somewhere, I will sign it, right? That makes sense. But if you keep a copy of my book like it's about the woman said that she was actually reading it on her way to the Whole Foods, and so she's been reading it and everything. But it was cool, and if she's listening to the podcast, shout out to you, girl. That's what's up. That's how you do it. You better keep you something on you. So it was cool. We took a selfie and everything. So that's different. You find me down the street and you just don't happen to have a book, I'll sign it. But if you go to a book signing, you traditionally should not bring one. Now, there was a couple, I'm not naming names, but I was in New York and they are from New York and they had their wedding in New York and it was bad. This couple, you've been hearing about them couple episodes of this podcast, and folks was like, listen, I'm not going to, listen, it could be anybody. But there was a particular couple This is, I just gonna call them the inconsiderate couple because they just so inconsiderate. Bless their hearts. Sometimes I don't know if they know they are, but it's a long story. Anyway, so this is that couple. For those who've been listening to this podcast for a while, this is an ongoing series. But this couple came to my book signing. I was in Brooklyn, and they came with a copy from Amazon. Now, let me be clear. This couple, they got some money. The husband is doing pretty well for himself, and the spouse is doing, finding their journey, as the husband once said. So they came to my book signing with a copy from Amazon, I believe. I don't know where they got it from, but it was not and we was at the Barnes and Nobles, the new Barnes and Nobles over there in Atlantic. And I was just sitting there looking like, so how you gonna bring an outside book to the event? Like, you're supposed to buy a new copy. And both of y'all came. So the booth should have brought a copy. So I will give you an example. My good friend, one of my favorite book mentors in the game, my good friend Eric, he just had a new book, just came out, first year orientation. Hit it. It's out now, wherever books are sold. So he had an event. Now he sent me a copy of the book, mailed me a copy of the book, like, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks before the book came out. And it's a hardback. It was in good condition. It was lovely. However, I went to that book signing, and I could have been a trifling person, and I could have brought that book that he gave me for free, and I could have had him sign that. No, that book is in my house on a shelf. I think I probably let my brother, one of my brothers, read it now. But I bought a new copy at the signing so he can sign it, because that's what you're supposed to do. We need units. Authors, he's not a first-time author, but I'm a first-time author. All units count. You pushing units. If you come to my book signing, I don't care if you bought a book already. You gonna buy another book, because that's what I would do for you. But yes, that's just etiquette. I'm new to the book game, but I'm being told by my mentors and my people that this is the things to do culturally, because you're trying to push units. The first 6 months of a book drop is crucial. Normally, unless there's something astronomical that happens, but the first 6 months is heavy, because you want to sell as many books to surpass your your advance, and you want to, be able to get to royalties and all that stuff faster. So it's really important to push books. As you all know, is getting close to month 2 of my books. My books are doing their thing. They're moving. People are buying. You all are supporting. But the more and more I go on tour, and the more people see me, and the more you all go to these things, if you want to go to these events, just have in mind that you should buy a new copy for those who are reoccurring guests. For people who have never been to the book tour, or you stop and see me or something, come with, buy a book. Buy one for the cousin. Buy one for the boo. Or just buy another one just because. But I look forward to seeing you all on April 18th on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. at Booker's. Well, Bayou, which is right next to Booker's. For those people who don't know where Booker's is, I love to give you all the address. So I'm going to give you the address right now, because some of y'all might be taking notes while I'm talking. So I want to make sure y'all good. It is at Bayou Lounge on 5025 Baltimore Avenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19143. Again, Bayou Lounge at 5025 Baltimore Avenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19143. That is the address. See you at 7:30, Tuesday, April 18th. And if you heard it on this podcast, let me know. And when you're buying your copies and I'm signing and taking selfies, we're going to say, hey. So I am definitely going to be there. Look forward to seeing you all. So, in other news, the new Barnes & Noble on 17th and Chestnut just opened. Yes, it just opened. And so many of you all have been going there to check out the new space. Now, it's gotten some buzz in the news. These new Barnes & Nobles, y'all, are no joke. Now, let me just say, sidebar, full disclosure. Barnes & Nobles is a proud supporter of the Case for Counsel culture. They are pushing my book in all of their stores. If you go to a Barnes & Noble, whether it's the Penn Bookstore, the Temple Bookstore, any Barnes & Noble type store, you should be able to find a copy of my book there. They are nationally pushing my book in all their major bookstores across the country. So I have nothing but love for Barnes & Noble. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the Case for Counsel culture. Now, what has been reported is that these new Barnes & Nobles that are being built, They don't have cafes. They don't have bathrooms. So when you go to the new Barnes & Noble on 17th and Chestnut, you're like, oh, can I go use the restroom real quick? This is not the one on Rittenhouse, boo-boo. That's the old style. The new store is really about pushing the books. And I must say, on an aesthetic level, I do find it aesthetically beautiful. That rather than pushing Starbucks and coffee and things, and I know people like treat Barnes & Noble like a study lounge or whatnot. What I will say is that the new Barnes & Nobles, they're not campus stores. They are all about really selling the books and promoting the authors. And personally, I like that because, look, I got a book to sell and I get it now, okay? But it's really different. So when you walk in, you're seeing books and lots of books. And so one of the great things is that they have a bookshelf right now for new nonfiction titles. And The Case for Cancel Culture is on that shelf, on the third shelf, above the Mike Pence bio or biography or autobiography. And also the Mike Pompeo, which, of course, sidebar, he announced he's not running for president. So the former Secretary of State is not running for president under the Trump administration. He's not running for president, which is wonderful. But he put out a book not too long ago, and my book is on top of his book on the shelf. It's on the third row. Their book's on the fourth row alongside the Bernie Sanders book that just came out. So it is, it's looking real good. Ron DeSantis on the top shelf because he had that New York Times bestseller, Ron DeSantis, with that trash ass book. Anyway, I'm on the third rack. So when you go and look up new nonfiction books, you'll see my book there if you want to get a copy. But there's copies all over, and there's been plenty of people that's been posting pictures and talking about how they bought a copy of the book already. I know some of y'all are going to ask the question, well, what if I'm not doing anything on April 18th, and I end up having a prior engagement? You going to show Philly some more love? Maybe. We'll see. Wink, wink. I don't know. Pop-up book signing at Barnes & Nobles. I did one in New York. Should I do one in Philly? I mean, what do y'all think? Probably. Stay tuned. But yes, it's been really good to hear the news. Now, this Barnes & Nobles replaces the Forever 21 location. So just FYI, it replaces the Forever 21 location that was there. And to be honest, no one's missing that Forever 21 over there. Sorry, I'm not, I'm not like super crazy about it. I'm not missing it for whatever reason. I'm just kind of like, all right, Forever 21. I mean, I'm growing up out of those clothes. And then across the street, on Chestnut, the H&M over there is not there anymore either. So it's a lot of tea. But honestly, I'm not over here, losing any sleep behind all this personally. I find it kind of like, it is what it is when it comes to that Forever 21. But super excited about the Barnes & Nobles there. Just letting y'all know that up front. So I'm also excited about later this week, guys. I know y'all know, but I am hosting a Mayoral Candace Forum. It's going to be, if you have Philadelphia Community Access Media, Philly Cam, or Verizon Fios, or Verizon Fios, or Comcast, it is the public access channel, Philly Cam, PCAM on those stations. So PCAM, PCAM is what they call it on the station. Set your DVRs, y'all, for like 6:30 on April 20th, Thursday, April 20th, which is 4/20, which is the birthday of my youngest brother, my super youngest brother. He's going to turn 13 years old. For all of my friends who know my little brother, my baby brother. So there's the little brother and the baby brother. I'm the oldest brother. The little brother is just turned 20 last month. The baby brother is turning 13. And the little brother goes to Temple. The baby brother is, of course, as you all know, in middle school. So his birthday he's turned 13. His birthday is on April 20th, 4/20, which is great because he knows nothing about that. And that's wonderful. And his birthday, it's on Thursday. So I'm going to be, I guess, cash apping. The kid, he at that age where he just wants money. So you have to cash app him. And I can't be corny and cash app him $13. It's like cash apping him. Cash apping the inflation rates. It's like $130 because like the 13 got to go somewhere. So I guess I got to cash app him $130, I think, but it's interesting. I still do that. Like some other brother, he just turned 20. So I actually didn't give him 200. I got more than that, but it was in that vein. You can't give them $20 anymore. They can't do anything with $20. The kid, you gotta step it up. So I think that's where my mental is. Every year, up until a certain point, I'm gonna do everything by tens. So When he turns 14, I'm going to give him $140. When he turns 15, $150. And then, we'll move all forward. But I think probably once they get older, if they want a gift, then it'll be a gift. But I got to assess if the money amount is lower than the gift amount, whatever that gift is. I don't know. He used to be into Roblox, whatever that is. Roblox, I've probably heard Roblox. The kids are into that now. They've been into it for years. I don't know if he's grown out of that yet, though. So I have to figure out. But I think I'm just going to give him money after. I'll stick with that, and he'll figure out what he wants to do with it. But anywho, on April 20th, okay, I am having the Mayoral Candidates Forum. It's in collaboration with CBS 3. CBS 3 will not be airing it live. They're going to turn it into an actual election special, which will air on Tuesday, April 25th at 7 p.m. So, yes, the 25th of April at 7 p.m., you can DVR that to watch the special. But for those people who are nosy, or as they say in Philly, newsy, and you want to see that stuff ASAP, then I recommend Philly Cam 630 to watch it live. So Philadelphia Community Access Media and CBS 3 Philadelphia. Those are the two major stations that are going to be running it. Also, if you're a radio person, WRD will also be live broadcasting the debate, or the forum, I suppose, if we call it forum or debate. They'll be live broadcasting it on Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m. So there is some liveness there. But if you're a TV girl who loves broadcast TV, mainstream TV, then set your DVR for next Tuesday, April 25th at 7 p.m. And for everybody else, Philly Cam, okay, set it there. Now, there will be a live taping with an audience. I'm telling y'all right now, it is sold out. It wasn't for sale, but sold out, I mean, we're at capacity. So if you did not do the Eventbrite, you did not RSVP, you did not whatever, just watch it on TV. Don't even show up, because security is not playing with these candidates. There's been a lot of ratchet forums. We're going to talk about some of the ratchet forums later in the podcast, but this is a very serious matter. And so I encourage people to not play games. Don't show up. Don't think you can pop up at the blue at the last minute. There is a master list. That list is serious. There will be wristbands. They're not playing. So just watch it live. And don't get in my DMs and ask me, oh, can I come? I'm sorry I missed it. If you did not RSVP, it's not happening. Now, some of you all who I know that's a big podcast listener fan, I did put you on a reserved VIP list. And you'll get a gold bracelet, and that will give you priority seating, because we do want to make sure that the audience is diverse in the front rows. And there will be some special guests in those front rows. The first, I think, 3 rows are like VIP. So some of you all don't know this, but you most likely will have a gold wristband, and you'll be allowed to have priority seating. And then, of course, everybody else who is your general admission will be general admission. It'll be a nice audience. I think we have about 175 people that will be in attendance at this location. I don't want to broadcast the location because some of y'all might think y'all gonna pop up and be cute. I won't even be at the door, but I don't want to let you play yourself. But to the people who RSVP'd on Eventbrite, that know this event is coming, want to see me host this show live, because I'm gonna be hosting it live. It's gonna be lit. I'm hosting it. The panelists will be Yuki Washington, the legendary Yuki Washington, one of my favorite people ever in media. He will be one of the panelists from CBS 3. There'll be Jamil Q. Duncan, my good mentee, who is also 19. He's a freshman at Swarthmore, writes incredible, great political columns at the Philadelphia Citizen. I feel like Nikki with Ice Spice. Well, no, I'm not Nikki at all. And I'm not... But just basically you got your, you got your mentee, your person doing their thing. Then you have Jamira Perry, who is my VP of print at PABJ. She is the news director and programming director at WRD Radio. She's on the panel. And then the legendary Miss Bishop Mary Pat. She will be in the building, okay? The Bishop Mary show. Bishop Mary is in the building, okay? And she will be an esteemed panelist as well. So there's 4. We have 2 women, 2 black men, 2 black women. They're doing their thing. And then we have 6 candidates who will be appearing, okay? 6 viable candidates, because let me be very clear that I was very intentional making sure that we had serious candidates, because there's been a lot of antics and a lot of random pop-ups and all this, that, and the third. These are the viable Democratic mayoral candidates that will be in attendance and that were invited. Okay, 6. And the following are, okay, in alphabetical order, not in position of a personal preference or whatnot. So it's Amin Brown, Jeff Brown, Alan Dom, Helen Gim, Sherelle Parker, and Rebecca Reinhardt. 6. That's it. Okay? You got a black man, you got a black woman, you got an Asian woman, you got 2 white men, and you have a white woman, right? There's the diversity of the candidates, but these are the viable candidates. These candidates have been running TV ads. These candidates have been fundraising aggressively. These candidates have been doing some great things. And so I am highly impressed with everything that I've been seeing. So I would recommend people to get serious about what they're seeing. Okay? So I highly encourage people to take advantage of this, of just watching and engaging it. They're going to be asking great questions. There's going to be some surprises. Y'all not ready for what you're about to watch, okay? Because I've been watching these mayoral candidate forums since January. I've been studying the candidates. I've been studying their responses. I've been going through the bullshit. I've been doing it all. This team, the production team, the lighting team, the crew, the panelists, the editorial team, we've really been, I think, in my opinion, I'm just going to be a little cocky, but I'm going to say, I think we're going to have the best candidates forum. I think we're going to deliver what the people really want. I think we're going to give you all a show, and not a show as in just entertainment, but an actual meaningful program that is going to incite and educate and inform you. And I think when you walk away out that forum, you're going to have a better idea of who you're going to vote for. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all might walk out and know who you're going to vote for, but many of you will have at least maybe 1 to 2 candidates that's going to be in your mind, and you're going to be like, maybe that's who I want to rock with. Okay. I'm not going to tell you all if I have a candidate in mind. I think it doesn't matter at this point. I'm covering the race, but I ain't gonna hold you. I am looking very much at candidates, but I got a person that I feel like is just my person. I'm not ready to tell y'all yet. I think I'm gonna tell y'all like before the election, like the final, like my episodes come out on Mondays. Y'all notice that? Mondays. So I think I'm going to drop the person that I'm going to vote for the day before the election. So the Monday episode, when that episode drops on May 15th, right? Because the primary election's on May 16th. I'm going to tell y'all who I'm going to vote for on May 15th. The primary is May 16th, Tuesday. Okay, Super Tuesday. But May 15th on Monday, that episode, I'm going to tell y'all who I'm going to vote for and why. I think I'm ready to come out the closet. I think right now I've been quiet, and I need to, because I'm still covering it. I'm looking, but I feel like I know who I'm going to go with, and I'm not going to share it until May 15th, until I am done with this race. Because right now what I'm doing, right? I didn't need to figure this out to the end. But to be honest, anything can change, y'all. Between now, I mean, we're a month away. Okay, we're less than a month away now, y'all. At this point, we're less than a month away. But anything can change. I know people that was voting for one candidate and was like, shoot, they said that? Oh yeah, I can't vote for them. So people are changing their minds like every other week now, and things keep changing. So I don't feel comfortable right now. Plus, I'm covering the race and I'm doing a forum. So no one needs to be knowing who I like or who I might not like or whatever. Now, what you can do is you can assess. Some of y'all might be like, well, I know who he ain't gonna vote for, but you don't know. I can't say. I'm not gonna confirm was it not. I just want you all to just follow the journey with me to May 15th. Okay, so some of y'all see me in the street, y'all like, so who you nudging for? And I keep telling y'all, I don't know. Listen, we're not disclosing. I'm not sharing until May 15th, okay? At first, I wasn't going to share it all. I was going to share after the election, but I think the day before the election, I think that's fair. So if you listen to the episode May 15th, you'll find out who I support. And to my close friends that know, shut up, okay? Because they're going to get in y'all DMs too. Jamarcus, Josh, George, and the dudes that be thirst trapping looking for a man. Listen, don't get their DMs and ask them. They're not telling you, okay? They're going to tell you nothing. They might not even respond. They might screenshot and send it to my DMs and say, this person being nosy. And I'm going to look and I'm going to comment in your inbox and tell you mind your business and wait till May 15th. But no, I think honestly, I'm pretty much, I feel like I know where I'm headed, but I do need to just watch the race play out because things have been just popping up, y'all. I mean, it's just been a wild primary. And I'll tell you this much. I feel like when I'm done with who I'm going to tell y'all I vote for, I feel I'm going to convince some of you all to tell me who y'all voting for. I feel like y'all going to tell me who y'all voting for when it's all said. I feel like y'all going, or not tell me. I think some people what I'm going to say might be the thing that's going to persuade some of you all who might be on the fence. But I don't know. We'll find out. And I might even be messy. I might even tell you why I don't want to vote for the other candidates. I might even articulate why the other candidates should not win, or I would not vote for them. And here's the thing. I'm going to tell you who I think might win in spite of the person. I don't know. But just stay tuned. We're just going to stay tuned, okay? We're just going to do that together. So don't ask me. Wait till May 15th. And the rest is that. Now, if you take me out for dinner and drinks, I might tell you soon. And I'm joking. I'm joking. That was a joke. That was sarcasm. Okay. So other things that I was doing before I get into these hot ass topics. So I went to see the Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, that play that's based on the life of the incredible, incomparable, the late, great Billie Holiday. It was at the Philadelphia Theater Company. I had a nice little Sunday matinee. Mr. Johnson and I went. It was cute. We like to go to places. I've been a theater girl. I was just at the Miller Theater to see Into the Woods last week. Now I'm over here watching Lady Day. It's been a lot of theater over here. I feel like I've gone to see more plays this year than movies, which is a good way of being cultured, getting exposure to the arts, not just the commercials. And now good theater, good cinema is great as well if you can see good films, but it's nice to see some great theater. So we saw the Lady Day. Lauren Talise, the actress, the performer who played Billie Holiday. That was a 90-minute performance. It was basically her. It was her and another actor, but she was the lead. I mean, she sung and acted her way through for 90 minutes straight. She was incredible. She sounds like Billie Holiday. Like she has that very deep, strong, voice with this conviction. She played the hell out of her. And it was beautiful. It was tragically beautiful. It was a very passionate performance. It was one of those roles where there's sadness, there's pain, because this play is set in Philadelphia, interesting enough, where Billie Holiday performed in Philly, and I think she was in South Philly, if I'm not mistaken, but she performed in Philly at Emerson's, and Emerson's was this old bar that was in Philly, and she was not liked in Philly. The police and the feds, people was always going after her around here. If you saw The People versus Billie Holiday, that interesting film by Lee Daniels, I mean, it gave Audra Day an Oscar nomination. I will give it that, but and she won a Golden Globe, interesting enough. I'm surprised that film got an Oscar. I guess they really liked, I don't know, biopics are in, I guess. I wasn't too crazy about that performance, to be honest. I didn't get the hype. When she won the Golden Globe, I was like, what? And she was the second Black actress to win that Golden Globe, following Whoopi Goldberg's win for The Color Purple. A Black woman in the 21st century before Audra Day had never won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Drama. That's weird. In a dramatic film role, like all these other actors before, right? But none had never won the lead dramatic actress award since Whoopi Goldberg. So there was a lot of buzz that potentially she could have won the Oscar, which I was just like, I don't see it. She didn't win, but it was just interesting. I'll say that, interesting. Nonetheless, this performance by Lauren, I found to be more more sincere, more intentional than the film, to be honest. She sings well. She's well disciplined. She has the range. She's just stellar. And it was a really good performance. It was just a really good show. Tickets are still available now. It's an immersive play. I want to give you a heads up. So when you go, there's table seating. There's like a bar, so you can buy drinks before the show starts. There's a table for you to, like an intimate table. It feels like you're at a jazz bar. Like words can't describe it. There's like a bartender, and there's like a whole performance to it. It's very dope. Words can't describe it. It's just a very dope show and like very immersive. So it's fun. So I highly recommend it, for sure. Outside of that, the Lit Brothers and I got together. We went to Alta Aperitivo, which is at the Piazza. Let me tell you something. The Post Brothers are an interesting developers group, but they have been creating some lit experiences. Now, last summer, you all probably remember we were at the Poplar in Northern Liberties, and there was that cute beach party. My girlfriend, my homegirl Sharon, Jamarcus, Geo, Josh, the Lit Brothers, we all was there. It was like a beach party, and we had the cute little outfits and fits. Well, the people who gave you the Poplar is now giving you this interesting spot. I mean, Alta Aperitivo at the Piazza. It is grand. It is luxurious, and it's in Northern Liberties, like right smack dab in the heart of Northern Liberties. And I went to the party. They had a beautiful, rooftop party with great views and water and scenery, and it was gorgeous. Drinks, cocktails. You all saw the vibes on my Instagram last week. It was lit. We had a lit ass time. Afterwards, we went to El Camino Real. Is it El Camino Real? Yeah, El Camino Real. I must say the food was good and very reasonably priced. I was shocked. I haven't been to El Camino Real in a minute, but it was cute. I don't know if it's because we were lit and we were like, we had a lot of drinks and we were just hungry, but the food did what it needed to do. I had a carne asada. So let me tell you what was interesting about that place. It had variations of different menus. It was too much going on the menus, but it wasn't bad. It just was interesting. So they had like a whole barbecue section. But I'm from Texas and I wasn't trying to take a risk and eat these people's barbecue, and I didn't know what that was giving. So I didn't do the barbecue. We stuck with the Mexican. I mean, it's called El Camino Real. I was like, I feel like the Mexican food is in the right direction. So we stuck with Mexican. But then we had some interesting things. Like they had fried pickles, and that was good. We had the chips and the guac, that was stellar. I had the carne asada. Some had fish tacos. So we just really stuck with the Mexican food because they had that, and then they tried to also have, I feel like, burgers and fries and that other stuff. And I was like, I just feel like their Mexican food is what's up. I don't know what their barbecue tastes like. I wasn't gonna try it there. I just was like, let me stick to what they feel like their expertise at. And it was the Mexican food for sure. So we really loved it. What I will say I loved about their drink menu situation is that they had their drinks in rates for big sizes. So they had like the 16 ounce, the 32 ounce, and 64 ounce. Now the 64 ounce is like pitchers. They had pitchers from a lot of their drinks. So that was a vibe. Like we had pictures of sangria. We had pictures of all these different drinks. I really loved the pitcher situation. That was a vibe. I also just like how they had different size drinks, like 32 ounce. First of all, that's a big ass drink. 32 ounces, y'all. That's heavy. That's 3 pints. Not judging, but like I don't know if I need that much liquor. And then you wonder too when they're playing with margaritas and sangrias, cocktails, like how much are you getting liquor at that point versus something else? But we did do the big pictures, but I didn't. I was like almost gonna get 32 ounces or something. But I like the size situation because if you really try to get tilt, you don't need to get multiple drinks. You're just gonna say, look, I'm just gonna stick with this 32 ounce and call it a night. And I think the 32 ounce was like $24, $22, depending on what drink you got. So I was like, maybe that's what it is, like two big ass drinks or whatever in one. You call it a night. Because, the average drink is what, 10 ounces or 8 ounces if you're getting cocktails. So I feel like that's a bang for your buck, a deal, to be honest. But no, El Camino Real was dope. That was a night to remember for all the people that were present there. So then following that, I went to Bolo, which you all have been asking me what that is because y'all saw pictures and you was like, hey, I never heard of that. So Bolo is this new restaurant. It's got Latin flair. It's I want to say it's Cuban, but it's a Latin American restaurant. Yeah, it's a Latin American restaurant. And it is on 2025 Sansom Street. They have ceviche, they have pistoles. It's giving Latin, it's like it's Latin food. It's got all the things that you want to have, piscopolis. And it's Puerto Rican, it's got a lot of Puerto Rican flair to it. They had empanadas, they had everything. It was a very good, it was lots of good food. Um, and the interesting thing about him is that the owner, the chef, we Philadelphia Magazine covered him, Un Funtes. He has a background in some hot spots, so I know my homegirl Amanda probably excited because this is she just loves this kind of food. So his background is that he was the culinary director of Milk Boy, but before then he was the chef of cuisine at Tinto and Whiskey Village, and he was the executive chef of Alma de Cuba. So it's the food. So that's his background, y'all. So y'all know the food was lit. The food was really good, and there was so many great cocktails. I had what did I have that stood out to me? The sangria was really good. I've been on a sangria thing lately. The sangria was good. They had good mojitos. I don't know. I'm not crazy about mojitos anymore. Maybe it's the place that I go. I've had some good mojitos, but I don't like mojitos that are like very like have that medicinal minty rummy taste, but they don't have that lime flair. So like I like mojitos that like, okay, you got mint, but I want to taste that minty limey taste. It wanted to have that tropical sweetness to it. And so some of these mojitos I'm drinking, it feels like I'm drinking like a peppermint with rum. And I don't really like that. I want the lime to come out more, the juiciness to come out. But their mojitos were good. They had other cocktails, really good like Latin cocktails that were really fun and creative. So I recommend. I think it's gonna be a fun place to try. A lot of people are gonna like it. It just opened, and people are hype as hell. I got a sneak peek last week. He has a rum bar that is ridiculous, and it officially opened last Friday. But I got a sneak peek the day before, and I definitely think it's going to be a hit. I definitely feel like there needs to be more options because there's Alma Cuba, which has had its run. It's not a bad place. You've also had what's the other genre? Cuba Libre, cool. It's had its run. Still good. These are good places. Let me be clear. These are good places. It's just like you want to try you can never get enough. And I mean, those places are Cuban restaurants. So let me be clear, those are Cuban restaurants. This seems to be there's some Cuban energy here for sure, like a little Havana energy, but it's also got Puerto Rican energy. I mean, he's Puerto Rican. The owner and the chef is Puerto Rican, so I do think there is that opportunity there. So there's stuff to get into for sure. But I'm very excited about this restaurant. It was very pretty. I got some cool little freebies to take me home with. But I simply adored it. Um, Speaking of other restaurants I went to, I also had the pleasure of going to Grandma's Philly. Now, this was random. I was in the neighborhood. I went to interview someone for a story that I'm looking into and investigating. Ooh, investigation. Well, I met someone that I was interviewing, and then while I was in the area, I just was hungry. And it was one of them things where I didn't want to get any takeout and go home. I didn't want to order on an app. I just want to go somewhere, chill, and eat something good. So I saw this place called Grandma's that's right there on the corner of 13th and Walnut. It's called Grandma's Philly. It's a Thai restaurant. And I was like, I haven't had Thai in a minute. I was just thinking about I think about Pattaya because Amanda was looking and she saw Pattaya had relocated. So for those who are longtime West Philly eaters and foodies, Pattaya is no longer on Chestnut, right next to New Delhi. It's relocated. It's on Locust, around like 40th and something on Locust Street. It's interesting. I don't know if they have a liquor license yet, but the last time I went, which was a year ago to be fair, they did not have a liquor license. But I was trying to figure out what a BYOB. So I don't know if they were BYOB either because they didn't have a liquor license. But they were. But what I did enjoy was just drinking their non-alcoholic drinks. But I don't know. Maybe the liquor license officially come back to Pattaya because if it has, I'll be back there because I miss that happy hour they used to have. That happy hour was one of the best happy hours in West Philly. And those wings, those Thai chili wings they have, are some of the best damn wings I've had ever in Philly. I mean, period. Like, period. Those Thai chili wings are to die for. And just all of their appetizers are good. Their meals are good. I mean, I think one of my go-to favorite dishes there is the Thai basil dish. Now I like the duck too, but the Thai basil beef or chicken, whatever, is just a fiery ass dish. Sometimes my other folks who go there, they like the little curries and stuff, and those curries can be good too. But I love that Thai basil beef or chicken. Oh my god, it's so good. I think I need to pay a visit to Pattaya. That's what I'm getting. Anyway, I went to grandma's and the food was great. They have great cocktails. They have great lunch specials. There are a lot of great stuff that you can eat there. I had to clear my throat. I was thinking about how hot. So some of the food was hot, which is not bad. I like hot food. But they have a good lunch special situation. They have a 3 to 6 p.m. happy hour, which let me tell y'all, that is the move. Because here's the thing. Sometimes you might go be downtown and you're like, I don't want to spend like double digits for a drink. But you finish lunch, you're not ready for dinner, but you want a drink and it's cheap in your area. That's gonna be behind my little ducky spot if y'all don't ruin it. A 3 to 6 happy hour is nothing to play with. They had $6 cocktails. They had a lychee cocktail that was incredible. They had a mango situation that was dope. The food was great. I got like a lunch special that they still was running, which was dope. It was like a salad, and then I had one of their the pork belly dish they had, which came with the rice and the spices. That was really good too. It was a very fun time. I highly recommend if you're looking for a quick little lunch spot. I haven't gone for dinner, but the lunch situation, the little happy hour, the little late midday happy hour situation, I mean, it was dope. So I'm a big fan. So before I get into my hot topics, because it's been a night, and it's been a night, an evening. Who knows when I recorded this? Mm. I got my nails done, and you all have been loving my nails. I don't know what they call these. I think they're like Opel, Opec, or something. But I call them pearl nails because it reminds me of like a pearl. And you know how a pearl has like very opaque color and shine and shimmer? That's what these feel like. I would call these the Little Mermaid nails. Like they got that seashell opaque look, and it sparkles and it glimmers, but doesn't super sparkle. But it has this like metallic look, but it's like also very shimmery and neutral. I love it, and it's like monochromatic with a lot of the blue items I have in the house. I've been touching things and taking pictures with them. You all been noticing that. But I just love how trendy and how springy they are. So I got a mani and pedi at my spot, Lux Nails in University City. My girl V hooked them up. And I've been really keeping on my feet. I've been big on keeping up with my feet outside of just getting the pedicure. So the pedicure is everything because I love that I'm getting my nails done and I'm keeping my nails clean on both the bottom and the top, no pun intended. But one of the things that I've been working on and I am doing is I'm working on perfection of my feet. My feet are good. As a man, I think my feet are phenomenal. But personally, I want to do more work on them. Like I don't want any calluses. I don't want anything. And so what I've invested in is a petty machine with the red light in my house. And so I got some really good, Epsom, salt and some stuff for the water. So it's this really nice machine. I got it on Amazon. I don't know the brand, but I bought the most expensive one because I'm just extra like that. But it was under $100. And what I love about this machine, I put hot water in it. I can control the temperature of the water. It bubbles if I wanted to or not, but I like it to bubble. And there's an option to click the red light, and the red light apparently stimulates and helps stimulate and promote cellular renewal and relaxation in the feet. That's what they say. Now, how do I feel? I feel like that is real. It is no bullshit, no cap. I definitely feel like every time I take my feet out, I'm like, who the fuck's feet is that? It feels like one of the movies where the Wicked Witch puts a hand in there. You ever see the original Snow White, the original like 1939 Snow White by Walt Disney? Do you all remember when the witch had poured that little pot or whatever it was and she drank that drink and her hands started to get pretty and soft and she turned into the nice witch, and then you remember she turned into the ugly person, she turned into the ugly evil witch, and in the transformation, well, this would be the reverse transformation where I put my feet in there and it comes out and it's like a new person. Or like Into the Woods, if you all have been following Into the Woods, where the witch is like old and haggardly, and then all of a sudden she, drinks everything and she turns into like this glamazon. That's how my feet were. Like, not that my feet was ever hideous. Let me be clear. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit. But all I will say is that when I pull my feet out after 15 minutes, the feet is on point. Now, let me say this about that machine. The machine water goes up to 118 degrees. When I first put my feet in this machine, did the thing with the petty, I was like, yeah, hot water. I want to feel it. Y'all, listen, that shit was too hot. My personal temperature is around 105 to 109 degrees. That's like my go-to temperature for my feet. You would think that there's a massive difference between 108 degrees and 118 degrees when it comes to that water. I will recommend putting in warm water, or warm or semi lukewarm, like lukewarm hot water, I guess, in the tub, the little machine tub, and then put your feet in and just get comfortable with that, and then just increase it. Like, so the baseline is 95 degrees and it goes to 118 degrees. It starts at 100 and it starts at 95 degrees, but the goal is, I would say, shoot for 110. Just let it warm up to your feet, because what you don't want to do is just stick your feet in a pile of hot ass pot water and you're gonna get third-degree burn or something. So just try to warm up to it. But I highly recommend this device. If you haven't done it, look online, go to Amazon, put in petty massage, water massage. There's different ones. Figure out which one works for your feet. But I highly recommend it. Fellas, get it together. Get it together. I was at that Aperitivo event, and I almost forgot the big thing that happened at that event before I get into that. But when I went to that event, I saw some people with some flip-flops on. And fellas, unacceptable. It's 2023. Wash your ass. Okay? Wash your ass. Wash the back of your neck. And get your feet together. No excuses. All of this, oh my God, I don't really do all that. This is hygiene. This is health. Okay? Bad feet is a sign of other things that are bad. And I'm not talking crazy. I'm talking for real. Like, you got to take care of your feet. Feet health is important. It is important. Pedicures, relaxing feet, cellular, your feet is important. Your feet is a sign of other health problems. If you have some really bad, horrible feet, or your nails in your feet or ingrown and stuff, that could be a sign of other internal health problems. And I'm not even bullshitting you. I'm telling you, it's a fact. Like, feet health is a sign. If there's things wrong with the feet, it could be other signs of things. Talk to diabetics about feet, the connection, the correlation between feet and diabetes. Like, there's all types of signs and things. So please take good care of your feet. Check your feet out. Get familiar with parts of your body. Check all parts of your body, to be honest. People are not comfortable with their body like that. I think it's important. I am very in tune with my body. And there's a Britney Spears song called Touching My Hand. Now, she was talking about masturbation. I'm talking about just being familiar with rubbing your body. Like, I hear women at a certain age will touch their breast and feel it for lumps. Men don't necessarily have breast cancer at that rate. Now, Beyonce's father has some issues. I'm not saying there's no issues there, but touch your body. Feel your body. Touch around your thighs. Check between your legs. Rub your balls. But seriously, touch yourself in a way to evaluate yourself. I'm 31. I'm at an age where, I can't be acting like, no, check yourself. For real. A lot of you all. Some of you all who are older that listen to the podcast, you're like, yeah, I definitely do that. But some people, touch your scalp. Men, rub through that scalp. When you get a certain age, start touching your scalp. Start noticing hair pattern. Start rubbing in and feeling parts that are uneven. And figure out what to do about that. Because some people like to ignore those things. They'll be like, oh, I ain't touching that. No. Start noticing those signs of your body. And figure out, hey, maybe I need to use different oils, different hairs, different shampoos. Maybe my skin complexion, my skin surfaces are not good. What product should I use? But we need to start doing that, people. I've had some interesting conversations with men, fellow men, in my circle, not in my lip, but my lip brothers typically, we be on it. But some of my cishet friends, male friends in the circle, they're just not, they're just not doing the work. We got to do the work. And some of us don't need a woman to do it. I don't have any girlfriends or wives, okay? Stop asking women to do this for you. That's just fucked up. Like, stop it. Do that work yourself. Now, lean into some guidance from some friends, but also take some time to do some work. So one of my friends, a couple of my homeboys who are straight, they've been doing some of that work. I said to one of my friends, I ain't gonna name no names, but I saw that feet. I said, what you doing? You got a 6-figure job. You too grown to be out here with feet like that. You go take your ass to the place. If you don't know where to go, I'll tell you where to go. So I didn't put some recommendations out there for that feet. They DM me. I did a podcast and a couple of men, it was about 4 brothers who hit me up and said, you was talking about that cologne thing. What cologne do you recommend outside of Creed? I said, I'm glad you asked. And I gave them a little private list. But we got to talk about hygiene more. I think post-pandemic, we got to talk about hygiene more. It's okay. Because once you know, you don't ever have to go back again. I think people get embarrassed. I've learned from some of the best people about different products to use. Lotions, creams, deodorants, different stuff. I mean, for starters, I'm never going to do natural deodorant. I'm just not that girl yet. Some of y'all might like natural deodorant. It's not for me. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. But I am, I look at different products to use that match my pH levels in my body. Because not all deodorants are the same. And not all body types can take certain. And if you don't know what deodorant works for you and your body flow, you can be fucked. And sometimes you can outgrow certain products. Let me tell black men something, and white men too. A moment of quiet. To my brothers who have been using Old Spice since they was in middle school, it is time to stop using Old Spice. If you are under the age of 18 and you using Old Spice, I'm not judging you. You know how in TLC, if you live at home with your mama, oh yes, son, I'm sorry. Listen, it's okay to do it at under 18. Personally, no. When you get past Old Spice, I don't care about those commercials. No Old Spice. Stop playing with Old Spice if you've been using your whole life because your body matures past that pH. It's a different chemical balance. Trust it. Take it from me. Let me also say this before I move on because I'm digressing, but it's real. Axe body spray. Body spray does not replace cologne. I don't care how cheap you are. I don't give a fuck if the cologne set you bought has a body spray. You notice it's a body spray and a cologne. So let me explain this because this has been a debate that should not be a debate anymore. When you take a shower, right, and you get out the shower, man, let's say you use that body wash that has that scent in it. Now, that scent might be cool and nice. I use Haran. I love Haran. I use my, Eau de Toilette, all of that. So, or Eau de Parfum is what I've been using lately, but the Eau de Parfum. But anywho, when I use the body wash, now, I got the shower. I smell good. The body wash makes me smell good. The fragrance elucidates me. It wakes me up. The eucalyptus I use with the green, the lemongrass, that is everything. The sandalwood with the black pepper at night to give me some seduction. I love that smell. It wakes me up. The scent of that is supposed to awaken your senses and make you feel good. It's not really supposed to make you be your lasting scent when you got the shower. Those types of body washes is meant to do stuff to create an experience when you wash yourself, to wake you up, to make you feel good, to smell good. It's giving you aromatherapy. It was never meant to really make you get out the shower and smell like that. Now, it might leave a lingering scent, but it's not supposed to be the complete scent. So then, when you got that shower, you put it on your moisturizer. Or some of y'all use lotion. I personally use moisturizer. That's my style. We don't have to debate about it. You might use a moisturizer or a body cream or a body gel cream, whatever you're using. Now, once you put that moisturizer on, that helps with closing the pores and keeping the skin soft. Now, some people have an allergic reaction where cologne on the body, the actual skin, can create a situation where, the body, whatever, right? Your skin can react. Body spray helps give the skin some scent. But let me be clear, it's not the same as cologne in the sense that cologne is not really meant to really go all over the body. It's supposed to go on fabrics, shirts and, those items, because that's where the scent gets locked in. So it locks onto a fabric. It stays in scent. So when you go wear a suit, you spray some cologne on the suit. Now you could put a little around the neck and the wrist, a little bit, but the real scent lingers on the clothes. So the body spray just does a little something for the body, which, helps complement to a certain degree. But really, the cologne is for the fabric. So you spray that. Now, I see some people spray a little on the neck in some areas. That's okay. You could do that. It doesn't hurt. But the real impact of cologne rests in the clothes because the fabric locks in that scent. Okay? So when people come up to you and can smell you, it's because they smell in the fabric. Okay? The skin, it do a little something, but it's really about that fabric area because that's where most of the scent is going to, go there. But, what do I know? A lot, clearly. So when I was at Aperitivo, I wanted to make this, because somebody asked me about this, about how did, Quinta Brunson and I have this cool Twitter experience. So when I was at this event at the Piazza, I had the silver Telfar bag on me. And when I wore it, there was a white woman there, older white woman, who looked at me and notices, oh my God, you have the purse from Abbott Elementary. And I was like, purse from Abbott Elementary? What is she talking? I was kind of like, huh? And she's like, oh my goodness, it's so nice in person. I don't know why she didn't like it. And I realized that Janine, the character, I remember that episode this season, when the boy that she was like in Gills, or whatever his name was, the rapper, Staples, his name is Vince Staples. Yes, Vince Staples. His character is Maurice. He's Reese in the show, Maurice. He was her love interest in this season. He gave her a silver Telfar medium bag that she just wasn't really feeling because she's not into stuff like that. And so I remember that cameo, that little guest appearance of the bag and all that. And it made me realize, oh snap, she was talking about the show and she's talking about this. So I tweeted it out. The tweet went super viral. As of the time to which I am talking about this experience, that tweet was epic. So I am looking at it right now, and yeah, so it got 21,000 likes on Twitter and over 1,000 retweets. And so it was dope. So she commented under the tweet and just did a laughing emoji cry. But she's dope. And yeah, what a moment. And I love her. She's so dope. So that was a fun moment. And I love that show. Y'all know I love Abbott Elementary. I talk about it every week. And I know I've butchered her name. I was like Quinetta and all this, but it's Quinta. And clearly I have to know that because, she's responding to tweets now. So the girl can't be walking around acting like she don't know what's up. But it was so sweet and it was fun. And what a moment. So, two of the things that's been going on out here in my world, my universe, that's been going viral and people have been talking about. So, to start off, the Supreme Court has refused to block $6 billion in student loan debt settlement. The Supreme Court has declined to block a class action settlement that forgave $6 billion in federal loans last Thursday. Okay, that settlement is for students at for-profit schools and vocational programs who claimed their loans should have been canceled because they were taken out based on misrepresentations made by their schools, aka, scamming schools, right? So this decision is completely separate from the pending case over the legality of President Biden's plan to cancel $430 billion in student debt for about 40 million borrowers. The ruling in that case is expected to be at the end of June, by the way. So that's the one that everyone's waiting for to figure out whether or not they're going to get that $20,000 for those Pell Grants and all those loans. That's what that big case is going to be about. But this is a good first step. And so it's interesting because a lot of people did not understand on places like the Shade Room, even though the Shade Room's a hot mess. People didn't understand this decision. They thought it was a bad thing. And I'm just like, wait a minute, y'all. There's a lot of media literacy lacking because people were like upset and complaining. I'm like, do y'all understand what's happening here? This is good news. This is very good news because in fact, it might be a sign that Biden's other student loan policy can also be protected. And the Supreme Court refusing to block the $6 billion student loan debt settlement is a big deal. they refused to block the $6 billion student loan debt settlement, which is a good thing. There's a lot of NAACP protesters, people demanding the cancel student debt because it impacts disproportionately a lot of black and brown people. White people clearly are impacted by it too, but this is not just the poor black people's issue, right? This is a national issue, a national crisis. But this is a major step. And so a lot of people should be paying attention to this and following it. But this is good because this is a Republican conservative majority on the Supreme Court. And the fact that they themselves was like, we're not going to block it. The fact that they're allowing there to be a trial, the fact that they're not going to dismiss this. I mean, could this work for Biden? Will they come to that conclusion? I mean, I don't put anything past Republicans, but I mean, listen, y'all need to stop fucking getting on. Listen, I don't know. We'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot that's been going on. Okay, for starters, I mean, Clarence Thomas. I mean, I don't know where to start with Clarence Thomas. The fact that Clarence Thomas is for sale, the fact that he's out here with billionaires that's taking him on paid trips and hookups, a man who got, anti-Semitic Nazi paraphernalia collection in his mansion. I mean, what kind of shit? People been trying to figure out what's going on with Clarence Thomas. They're like, oh, he's a sellout. He's a this, he's a that. Child, this man has been a sellout since 91, okay? He's been a sellout my entire life since he got on the Supreme Court around the time I was born, okay? This dude has been a nut for over 30 years. Over 30 years of power. Like, my God. And so people are really pushing the needle on trying to figure out, is he breaking constitutional rules? Is there some violation of Supreme Court justice? Is there something they could do? I mean, to be quite honest, it's probably nothing they can do because most people never will expect a Supreme Court to be this fucked up. But the crazy part is that ProPublica last week had exposed him for unreported financial ties to this billionaire named Harlan Crow. But even worse, on Sunday, the Washington Post had even showed even more disclosure discrepancies. They're getting in that ass, okay? The media is finally coming on the ass. For the last 2 decades, okay, that's 20 years, Clarence Thomas has stated on disclosure forums that his family received hundreds of thousands of dollars in rental income from a firm called Ginger Limited Partnership. But the gag is, it's a firm that hasn't existed since 2006. I just want to start off by saying that I always believed Anita Hill. And to all the people who was questioning whether Anita Hill was this, that, and the third, listen, here we are 30 years later, and this man is still in some shit. So I don't know what's going on with the Republicans. The Republicans are showing their ass. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot for Republicans. I mean, the conservative party, I mean, we're getting into 2024 elections, and it's a hot ass mess. There's a lot going on. I don't know if y'all also been following the situation with Bud Light. A lot of people have been asking me what's been going on with Bud Light. So there's the transgender performer who was a part of this Bud Light ad. His name is Dylan Devaney. And pretty much because of the fact that he's a transgender TikTok personality, and the company partnered with Bud Light, this beer company, to do some influencer stuff. And now the problem is that it's been a lot of backlash from Republicans. I mean, they've been showing their whole ass so much that the the National Republican Congressional Committee threw shots on Twitter. They said, thanks to Dylan Mulvaney, we can all finally admit that Bud Light tastes like water. Well, they're walking it the fuck back. They done deleted it because clearly the GOP realizes it should stop attacking its own major donor, according to a story that was published in the Daily Beast. So they have now put out and swiftly deleted the direct attack on Bud Light because the parent company recently donated nearly $500,000 to candidates during the most recent campaign cycle. So the NRCC's backpedaling is following conservative calls for boycotts because many people wanted them to boycott this beer company. Now, this decision to reverse course is pretty much a reaction to the reality that the parent company is a major donor to the Republicans. And so they sat up here and talked all this shit. Now, Donald Trump Jr., basically has been trying to tell these people to shut the fuck up and back up on this because he even realized the money was going down. You see what I'm saying? He did some interview on some Rumble or whatever, this little app or whatever, basically saying, quote, if they do this again, then it's on them, then screw them. But he's trying to tell a lot of conservatives to pump the brakes on boycotting Bud Light because Bud Light been giving them money. I don't know any progressives or liberals drinking Bud Light, to be honest. I don't even know why Bud Light. I don't know what was going on, but the truth then came out and now everybody's gagging. But I'm sitting here looking like, what are we doing here? But here we go. Sometimes you talking some shit and you don't know what you doing. It's a whole mess. It's been a lot of people just showing their ass. That whole rep Dan Crenshaw tried to go after Bud Light. So many of them trying to, and so the company is called Amateur Busch Beers, I guess they're called. But basically, he tried to have a boycott against Bud Light. But people don't even realize that there's other beers that's owned by Amateur Busch that is not just Bud Light. And I think when people are trying to focus on this boycott, it's like, do you know the other beers like Budweiser, other beers like the Seltzers, the Ultras, the Busch Lights, there's other beers that they own. They own, I forget what's the company called Stella Artois. I don't really drink beer. Cutwater, if y'all like those lime margaritas, the Seltzers, the other products they have. They have Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, Busch Natural Light, Shock Top, Land Shark. They own so many other beers. Hoegaarden, Stella Artois. I don't drink any of this beer. I don't drink beer, by the way. So if I'm mispronouncing these companies, it's because I don't really drink beer. But it's like people trying to drag them. Like, do y'all know that they own other beers other than just Bud Light? But y'all were trying to be cute, though. So, now look where they're at. So it's a lot going on over there in Republican land. But the other beautiful thing, though, is that the Tennessee 3 is back. The boys are back. The Justins are back, which is beautiful. It's a really beautiful thing to see these incredible activists stand up for what's right. So Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, I know earlier last week I said one of them might be reinstated, but it's now official, all three. So the white woman was never kicked out. Gloria Johnson was never kicked out of the state house. They were never kicked out after she stayed by one vote. But the other two were expelled. And they were accused of basically, quote unquote, disorder and dishonor to the House. And this is the state house of Tennessee. So the Tennessee House of Representatives had expelled the two of them. They're Democrats. Justin Jones and Justin Pearson were expelled. Well, they've been voted back in by their respective municipal governments to serve and represent. So they're coming right back to the Tennessee State House alongside Gloria Johnson, who was also up for expulsion, but was survived by one singular vote. So that white Republican said, you can kick out the two black guys, but keep her. Well, now they're all three back because basically their local municipalities overruled that decision and reinstated them back to replace those seats. So it's a beautiful, bold moment in history. Didn't see that coming, but what a miracle it is that they're back. So I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a really good move and we'll be following it, okay? So in other news, this is light, but someone brought this to my attention and I appreciate y'all for bringing this up. Somebody told me I talked about TikTok being banned, the national call for banning TikTok, and I was in favor of it. Well, it just came out that Montana's state government has officially ruled to ban TikTok in Montana. Now, I know that conservatives are leading a charge on this, but to be honest, why not? Why not? I'm okay with it. I'm not crazy about TikTok. I think that, like I said, I have had a very interesting relationship with TikTok. I'm not crazy about it. I just find it to be trash. I don't trust it personally. I'm not saying I'm this crazy conservative about it, but I just don't feel like TikTok is of public use. I don't see the necessity of TikTok. I think people made promises that TikTok was going to be more progressive and they were going to provide resources, and, it was going to be this new way to support Black creatives. I mean, there are some people that are benefiting. The most followed influencers of Black TikToker in France is Black Guy. But most of the people that's benefited has been largely white. They're stealing Black culture, Black aesthetics, and and these are young people. So the cultural appropriation and all that hijacking culture vulture shit is just being passed down from generation to generation. Like we're back in the 70s and 50s with people like Elvis Presley. I mean, we're seeing the same shit happen. And I really think that, in my opinion, TikTok is just an app that just isn't really worth all the headache, to be honest. It's not really doing what people think it's doing. And I think out of all the apps, it's just a waste. It's become a waste, personally. So Montana, listen, I want to see what's going to be the cultural impact of TikTok being banned. I want to see what's going to happen. Like I want to see how the kids are feeling. Like, will it raise self-esteem? Will it do some new things? I mean, Instagram is still out there, I suppose, but I want to see what it's going to do. There should be studies, like someone does a social media study to see. We'll see. Who knows? So it's that time. It's that time, y'all, to talk about Philly and what's been going on in these elections. Ooh, I just want to let you all know in advance, listener discretion is advised. Okay, so this race is getting spicy. Finally, fucking finally. Like, it's finally getting spicy. Like, real spicy. Not like, there's been a couple of bombshells here and there. A lot of that's been by yours truly. But we are finally, the gloves are off. I guess somebody told somebody we need to wake up and get the ball rolling, because there is just this past week was a nuclear week. It was probably the most consequential week of the election. In 1 week's time, 2 candidates have dropped out. Maria Quinones-Sanchez and Derek Green. Derek Green has officially suspended his campaign for mayor. He will not be running for Philadelphia's 100th mayor. He is out of the running to become Philadelphia's next top mayor. He's out. He suspended his campaign right after a big, huge debate that took place on Fox 29. It was a debate that caused a lot of spark, a lot of buzz, a lot of controversy. Some tea was spilled. We'll get into some of it, but let me just start by just saying that what a race, Derek. Personally, I think Derek should run for district attorney. I think he should run for DA. I think he should run against Krasner. And if Krasner decides not to run for a third term, because there's no term limits for DAs, interesting enough, I think he should consider running. I think, Krasner, after this term, I'm just like, okay, we've had 8 years of Krasner, y'all. I don't think Krasner's a horrible guy, but I don't know. I just don't know if he's right for the time we're in Philadelphia. I think he's tried to do a lot of things, but I just think all of the attention and the baggage, I just don't know if it's equated to, I don't know if it's done as much as people would have wanted it to. I think his head's in the right direction, but I just think he's a little too arrogant, and I don't think he's working enough with others to get a lot of the shit done. I think that's the weird thing. All these elected officials want to come in super radical, but it's like, if you can't get shit done, or you're not getting enough done for as much smoke that you're bringing, then it makes people have to reevaluate whether you're effective enough to serve. I'm curious to see what Derek Green is going to do. I don't know if he's going to run for DA, but there's been people looking like that needs to be his next stop. So we'll see. He was a former ADA himself. He's been in elected office. He's been successful, in that place. He's got the name recognition. I mean, if he ran, he'd put up a good fight. So we'll see where he goes. I don't know where Maria Quinones-Sanchez is going, but Derek Green has a pathway to DA if he wants to pursue that. So we'll see. We'll see on that front. But as far as the rest of the race goes, it's been some interesting stuff going down. So for starters, the FOP has made their endorsement of the Fraternal Order of the Police Lodge 5 in Philadelphia. They have endorsed Jeff Brown for mayor. Are we surprised? I'm not surprised that they picked an inexperienced white man who made lynching references for the next mayor. Sounds very Trumpian to me. Not that anybody should want to desire to get the FOP endorsement, but it's also very telling. He's been getting a lot of FOP support. Guardian Civic League, I believe, endorsed him. Temple Police Association did. He's getting massive endorsements from police. And I think it says a lot because it's like you all elected somebody who what deal did you take to not be mayor, to get that endorsement? Did you agree to not having body cameras? I'm just asking out loud. I've heard different things. I don't know if anything is true, but I'm asking them as questions. I wonder if Jeff Brown may have potentially agreed to no longer supporting body cameras on cops in order to take the endorsement. That's being speculated on social media. I don't know if it's true, but I wonder what kind of things did he agree to? Because it seems like he supports stop and frisk. I think he's said he supports stop and frisk. You get an FOP endorsement, it says a lot about what your politics are. But let me tell you why I think that's the most interesting thing about this, is that you have Black candidates like Sherrell Parker and Amin Brown that have really tried to make themselves these cop-friendly candidates. And they've really been doing the most, I'm not going to say shucking and jiving. I'm not going to say that. But they definitely have been doing a lot to pander to the police base. And they've really have tried to, really act like they're this tough on crime Eric Adams candidate. And then look who got the endorsement, the white man with no experience. And that's what they typically do, those FOPs. Those FOPs, get it? SOBs, FOPs. Those FOPs, they do typically go that direction. I mean, they're not crazy about Danielle Outlaw. They don't like her. I mean, she's a cop nonetheless, but they don't care. They don't like Black people like that. They don't. I mean, the president currently, McNesby, has had a history of saying racially insensitive remarks about Black activists. Rabid animals, he referred to them a couple years ago during the incident. The history's there. You look at the police department's history of those Facebook posts, those racist posts. Remember all those racist social media posts that was being made by several officers over several years? I mean, there's a lot of history of racism. I mean, it's a racist institution. It just is what it is. And so it's weird to me that these Black candidates really were trying to shoot their shot. And so poor Rochelle Blau, but poor Sherrell Parker, right? Poor Sherrell Parker, who just really was trying to get in that situation. And, Amin Brown definitely was hanging out and trying to get these cops. And look what happened. They didn't endorse. They didn't endorse all these policies, these big stances that arguably people turn voters off from supporting you. And look what happened. Look what happened. So, you lay down with pigs and you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. That's just how I feel about it. You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. So there was a poll that came out that I did a story about for Philly Mag. I did an op-ed about it. It was from the Black Leadership PAC, which is this new group that includes labor leaders and community leaders and different types of folks in power in Philadelphia that are Black. And they have formulated a coalition, a PAC, a political action committee, that is going to pump money into this upcoming race. City council at large candidates and the mayor. And they're going to make endorsements for city council at large candidates and the mayor. They're not getting involved in district races, which is very interesting. But they're not getting involved in district races. But they're focused on at large for those 5 Democratic slots. And they're focused on the mayor's race. There's some interesting things that's come about this group and what's come to the table and what's happening. They released a poll that just came out that said that 42% of Black voters are undecided. And that's a big deal because I think a lot of people traditionally at this point in any of the mayor races in Philadelphia, you could have a sense of who was going to get the endorsements or who was going to back who. But this has been a very interesting year that while all these candidates are doing all kinds of crazy shit, it's been interesting to follow the patterns of behavior from the candidates themselves. I mean, the voters themselves. Black voters, 42% undecided. And this is a race with several black candidates. And yet, with all that diversity, they're still sitting there scratching their head like they're not sure yet. That's a good thing. Because honestly, these candidates have not, what that tells me is that these candidates have not made a strong enough case to convince voters either way. What it also shows us is that the plurality of Philadelphia, the majority of Philadelphians or black Philadelphians are around 44%. The majority of black Philadelphians, right, that make up 44% of the population, we're gonna decide who the next mayor is. Our vote is gonna really be important and crucial. Most of the time, when you hear about undecided voters at this point, it's often white voters. So to see black voters be framed as undecided is powerful because what it means to these candidates running, regardless of their identity, that they have to explain to black voters, specifically middle class black voters, because that was the base of their focal point was on a lot of them were middle class voters, is that you have to come better. That all of this rhetoric, all this pandering, all these antics, they've resonated to some voters, but a lot of people are still sitting back like, I don't know yet. And with a race that's less than a month away, that means this is still a very open race to a certain degree, and that you don't know exactly. I could see the race going potentially 3 to 4 ways, to be honest. I have to tell you, I think this race is going to go 3 to 4 ways. I mean, yeah, 3 to 4 ways, I would say. I would say I see the race going 3 to 4 ways. I'm not going to name who those 3 to 4 people are, but I definitely see it going 3 to 4 ways. I think I have a good grasp of who could pull the upsets. And honestly, I don't even know if I should even say the word upset because I don't really know who the front runner is. But let me tell you one thing that stood out to me recently, and this has really been interesting. And it might be borderline conspiracy theory because I'm just thinking about this on a very theoretical level. I don't know, and I can't substantiate all of this with like actual facts, but I'm having an analysis moment based on drawing conclusions based on some of the things I'm observing. So it's been interesting that there's been no real major independent poll on the candidates lately. And there's so many media outlets. You have 6ABC, you have NBC 10, you have other radio stations. You have the Philadelphia Inquirer, which is a major local newspaper that has tons of money. To do a poll is about roughly $20,000. A good, decent poll is about $20,000. The fact that no one has conducted a poll at this point in the race that is independent. I'm not talking about shit from PACs and shit, because to be honest, PAC polls on candidates are just kind of like biased, right? I can't trust those polls. Jeff Brown PAC polls say that Jeff Brown's in lead. Well, damn it. I mean, for all the money that they spending, they better find a way to manipulate that data. Maybe it's name recognition or something. Because shit, everybody probably heard the name Jeff Brown. But if you ask people if they would vote for him, they may have said something differently. So I don't trust those polls. We have not had any independent polls, no Pew polls, no Linfest poll on individual candidates. We've seen Linfest polls on issues, but no one has done a poll so far on these candidates. So that's why it's also confusing, because a lot of candidates are spending hella money. And I feel like people don't want to do the polls because I think people are scared that once the polls come out and show who's in the lead, then everybody will deviate a certain type of way. Like certain people will go one way or the other way or the left way or the right way. And you may not know, they might start being on some, I mean, the gloves are coming out now and the claws are coming now. But could you imagine if there was a poll that came out, like right now, how the candidates will shift? It reminds me of like when Donald Trump was in the lead during the presidential race, and those polls were coming out about Trump being in the lead. All those Republican candidates began to pile on Donald Trump because they said, we got to knock this dude down. I mean, it didn't succeed. They didn't succeed, but it just goes to show you that the polls can play a role. I remember when they did polls during the Senate race. when they kept showing, Fetterman ahead of Conor Lamb and Malcolm Kenyatta. And people thought those polls were crazy. But them polls were dead ass, that this was going to be a blowout. And throughout the entire race, Fetterman was on top. No matter how many times they tried to remix those polls, Fetterman was on top. And he whooped that ass. And so I wonder if some of these people who were involved very heavily in that race are like looking at this race and being like, we don't want to put the polls out. Because by putting the polls out, it will force people, like in a race with this many candidates, right? It will force candidates to drop out. Because if you ain't in the top, 4, 5, it's time to go home. It's time to pack up your bat and your ball and go home. And so there's some candidates right now that is happy there's no polls out, because they can keep lying to people and acting like they're doing higher than what they are, or playing the word on the street energy. I'm getting a lot of these candidates calling me being like, yo, I'm out in these streets, we out over here, and people showing us love. Man, these people know who the fuck you are. Like, let's be real. Candidates coming in neighborhoods, most of them, right? People are not even, they're probably in neighborhoods and areas where people are not registered to vote, child. If you actually ask them, see, everybody like, do you support me? Fuck that. Ask these people, are they registered to vote? And then ask them, where do you vote? Because if you ask me where I'm voting right now, I would say, oh, I'm voting at West Philadelphia High School. Right? That's where I know. I know where to vote. I'm going to West Philadelphia High School on Tuesday, May 16th, around 8:30 a.m., give or take. I'm going there. And that's where I'm going to vote. So to the people out here who are taking pictures and shit, I'm like, is this person able to vote? Is this person registered to vote? Are y'all asking the right questions? I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot of hype, but like all the pictures and the signs and all the bullshit, the votes. Where are the votes? Are these people registered to vote? Is the numbers coming in? Make it make sense. I mean, that's just how I feel. I'm seeing so much hype. And also, and again, conspiracy theory. I wonder if a lot of these offices and these newsrooms are not putting out polls, because right now you have about 5 candidates that are dropping some type of ads on TV. And ads are expensive, okay? If you're pumping in, I think Alan Dom is pumping in hundreds of thousands of dollars in ads. Like, he's not playing with them ads, y'all. I'm seeing fresh ads from him every other week. Helen Gim's got ads out. Rebecca Reinhardt got ads out. Sherelle got a couple of ads out. Armin Brown's trying to do everything he can to keep some ads out. Jeff Brown got ads. I mean, the ads are running, right? So that's about 5 candidates I just named. Or let me think, 6. 6 candidates are running ads. Yes, I think 6 candidates are running ads. Yeah. Armin Brown's running ads. Alan Dom's running ads. Jeff Brown's running ads. Rebecca's running ads. Sherelle's running ads. Helen. 6 candidates are running ads right now on TV. So these TV stations are making some good money. What if they did a poll and said that this many candidates are X, Y, and Z? They're going to stop running them ads. Some of them candidates going to be like, I need to put more of my money in canvassing. I need to put more of my money in canvassing. I need to put my money on the grassroots shit. I don't need this waste money on TV. They might prioritize their whole budget around these races based off of the results of the poll. So I feel like they're purposely, I think there's a coordinated effort on everybody in these campaigns. I think nobody really wants the polls, because I don't think none of them are confident enough that they will be in the lead. Or I think there's a suspicion of one person that they think are in the lead based on that person's name recognition and popularity. But it's hard to tell. So it's kind of one of the things where it's like, I don't want to know. I'd rather keep my head closed and then find out on election day. That's scary as fuck. Because in the past, y'all, we knew that it was Williams and Kenney both times. Williams and Kenney were both times each time. Like, the first time, it was Williams and Kenney. But then the poll showed that Kenney was in the lead. So you knew Kenney was was going to be the likely winner. I remember the DA's races. We all saw Krabs as that potential front runner. Initially, everyone saw Rich Negrin. But when we saw them results and Rich Negrin ended up being third and Joe Kahn was number two, it was like, damn, no one saw that coming. So it's a lot of interesting things that happen. And Joe Kahn's brother is Tariq Khan. Tariq Khan, who blocked me on Twitter, interesting enough. But also is this progressive, I guess, over there in the Northwest, who is a state rep. He's a state rep now. So it's interesting, the family dynamics and politics. But it's just like, wow, when you think about all of these people over the years, and you look at previous elections and races, how different they are from one another. It's very telling. But this is an open race nonetheless. And so 42% of voters, I'm not surprised that 42% Black voters, it's a lot going on. And I got some burning questions, to be honest, as we get into this upcoming, candidates forum that's going to be happening. I still have some questions. And a lot of those questions were driven by some of the things that happened last week. So let me just start by saying that nobody has been having it hard than Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown, okay? Jeff Brown got a lot going on, okay? It has been wild. And it could change everything for his race. So first of all, let me just start off with the fact that I know where I want to start. I guess the start I would say is that the Board of Ethics, the Philadelphia Board of Ethics, have accused him of violating the city's campaign finance law. They're accusing him of illegally coordinating with a political action committee, which is a PAC, and a nonprofit that supported him. The Philadelphia Board of Ethics, okay, let me be clear with you. They're independent. They are a very credible institution. I've never seen in my history of covering politics that in the middle of an election, in the middle of a primary, because normally they'll come through with a fine, like they did Krasner a couple of times for, doing some bullshit. They'll slap them on the wrist. But they are literally suing him in the middle of a campaign. And I looked at the lawsuit. Quote, they said that the campaign, and said the groups that work with his campaign are in a, quote, elaborate scheme to circumvent the city's campaign contribution limits. Now, they've been since 2003. The city has been enacting strict campaign contribution caps because there was that messy ass pay-to-play scandal that happened back in the day. People forget there was some pay-to-play shit that went down in 2003. That was 20 years ago. Okay? Lots of mess. But when we talk about dark money donors, because people want to know, what does dark money mean? Dark money means when there is money that comes from anonymous donors that's technically trying to, arguably buy his favor. Because when you spend that much money, put that much dark money in the race, it's going to be a question about where the money comes from. So when I looked at that lawsuit, okay, the ethics committee, the ethics board, the lawsuit is very clean. It's very to the point. They look at lots of emails that show that Jeff Brown coordinated with that super PAC for a Better Philadelphia. Now, if you remember for a Better Philadelphia, you remember when I reported in January about those Michelle Obama ads, that was from For a Better Philadelphia. They made these Michelle Obama ads with Jeff Brown, and then, of course, Jeff Brown did his own ads, and it looked like there was coordination then. But a lot has went down. And so a common pleas court judge has granted the board's request for an emergency order that is going to prohibit the super PAC and nonprofit to basically cancel any planned TV ads and to stop using money to influence the primary on May 16th. That they have to stop at this moment right now. Now, the board wanted to also, charge them a record-breaking $162,000 for violating those campaign finance laws. But the judge has not done that yet, and right now they're going to order them to return to court on April 24th. So there's going to be a hearing next Monday, okay? And don't for 5 seconds think I'm not going to be following that shit from minute to minute, because this is a big damn deal. We haven't seen something like this happen before. And there has been already more than $22 million poured into the campaigns before May 16th. And nearly half of that money, y'all, around $11 million, have come from outside of Philadelphia. So you got to take a moment, because the tea is hot. The tea is hot. One of the things that came out of this was that David Adelman, okay, who, as you all know, is connected, right? He is the Sixers co-owner, and he's also really big on Market East, where he's trying to put that brand new arena, that 76ers arena. The crazy part about this is that among the anonymous donors to that super PAC for Jeff Brown, there was a $250,000 contribution that is believed to be connected to the 76ers. And of course, for those who don't remember, Jeff Brown supports that arena. And we all know that the next mayor might influence where it gets built. So the Sixers proposal, right? It looks bad because it looks like they're trying to buy a mayor. Not a good look. Not a good look. And let me explain something, because this has to be also mentioned, right? Because a lot of people are going to say, well, isn't other candidates doing dark money? Let's be clear. Sherelle Parker, let me say this real quick, because, he talks about how there's 3 other candidates that have super PACs that are backing them, right? But let's also be clear that none of those candidates have been accused of illegally coordinating with their PACs. And, they got their big list of donors that has been reported as well. When you look at Sherelle Parker, she's getting backed by these building trade unions, and they have some influence, and we know they got some big influence in City Hall. You thinking about Johnny Dock. Like, we know that's real, right? Then we also know that there's Helen Gim, who is supported by the, American Federation of Teachers, AFT. They done put some money behind, okay? And they were fined in 2015 when they were making donations to Gim's campaign during an ethics violation investigation. So there has been history with Gim and that PAC as well. Now, we also know that there is a super PAC affiliate, Rebecca Reinhardt. She got $100,000 from that venture capitalist and philanthropist, Richard Vague. $100,000. Okay? So 3 of those candidates, Sherelle Parker, Rebecca Reinhardt, Helen Gim, the 3 women candidates in the race, they got super PAC money. But the interesting thing is that unlike those 3 women, Jeff Brown has not released the names of his donors. And there have been many people, including the Philadelphia Inquirer's editorial board. Alan Dom has come out publicly. They have asked for him to give the names of those dark money donors. And I'm wondering too, why are you not giving up this number? Why are you not putting out the receipts? It's just baffling to me that you will not disclose that. I'm just saying. It's very telling. It's very concerning. And I think there's some weird stuff that happens. So let's talk about how that drama led into what has been, before, my forum this week, the most consequential mayoral candidates forum thus far before my forum on April 20th. The Fox 29 debate, right? It was at Temple University, my little brother's school. 10 Democrats, no clear front runner. But to be clear, they had 7 candidates. They had Sherelle Parker, Derek Green, Alan Dom, Rebecca Reinhardt, Jeff Brown, Helen Gim, and Amon Brown. Now, I just want to talk about this forum. This forum was very interesting. It's on TV. It's on YouTube for people who want to find it. If you put in Fox Mayoral Debate, Fox 39 Mayoral Debate on YouTube, I know a lot of people want to go back and watch it. It is available on YouTube to watch. It is entertaining. It's about 90 minutes. I think it's 2 hours. I think it's about 90 minutes, I think. Either 90 minutes or 2 hours. I think 90 minutes. So let me tell you what stood out to me about this forum in particular. Because I watched it about 4 or 5 times now at this point. It's entertaining. And I'm just also a nerd, so I'm not a geek. A nerd and a geek are two different things. And if you don't know what the difference is, go look it up. But anywho, I watched this debate, and this debate was before Derek Green suspended his campaign. So this was on Tuesday night. Derek Green suspended his campaign on Thursday. So the Ethics Committee, the Philadelphia Board of Ethics, sued Jeff Brown on Monday. So it's important that we make sure we compare these notes and compare these dates, because it's important to know the contradictions. So he got sued on Monday. The situation, everything went down on Tuesday, this debate. So let me just start about the highlights of the debate. There were things about the debate I liked. There were things I did not like. One of the things I did not like about the Fox 29 debate, and I'm also not liking about a lot of these debates, is that there's so much energy on gun violence. And I get it. Public safety is a top issue and concern of Philadelphians. But like at some point, you're literally asking the same types of questions 5,000 times. I think they were like, let's talk about crime. Let's talk about public safety. Let's talk about the police department. I mean, it was like they kept talking about the same types of issue. And I'm just like, I get it, but like, y'all, you cannot police us into better public school education. You cannot police us into, I don't know, anti-poverty. You can't police us into prosperity. Like, so this obsession with crime and police, I mean, I get that there needs to be a conversation about the gun violence, but I was also bored with many of the people talking. Everything was like, we gotta have consequences. We gotta have more polices. We gotta have more police officers on patrol. And it's like, oh, shut up. Like, I just feel like all of the responses are pretty much the same. There were people that did try to talk about alternative funding and investment community, and that's positive. But I just feel like, how many times are you going to keep bringing up the same question, and everyone's giving the same answers, and everyone's out here lying? Some people are lying, right? Like Sherelle Parker likes to. I mean, well, Jeff Brown specifically likes to throw this shot about, oh, they were the city council people was talking about defunding the police, and nobody from city council in Philadelphia was defunding the police. They did not defund the police. The appearance of defunding the police, I don't know where that came from, but let the record show that none of these people actually defunded the police. Like, the city council never defunded the police. In fact, the police budget continued to increase after 2020. Like, the police budget has been increasing. They may not like how much it's been. They may want more money, but let's not act like there hasn't been any money. It's been increasing. So this whole narrative of defund the police is a this, is a that, shut that shit the fuck up. There has been no defunding the police in Philadelphia. So it's annoying when you see somebody like Jeff Brown saying that shit. Now, Jeff Brown, with his scandal, he said that he planned on some Trump. He described the situation that happened to him with the Board of Ethics as a political hit job. He said this is about the political establishment not wanting the change that we so desperately need. This is a political hit job. This is not reality. First of all, dude, the fucking Philadelphia Board of Ethics is not connected to the Democratic Party or Republican Party. They're independent. And there is nobody as pressed about your ass, Jeff Brown. There's no political establishment that's trying to come after you as if, like, you are a white rich man. Political establishment coming after you. This is giving Trump. It really is giving Trump. Like, political hit job. You really believe that the Philadelphia Board of Ethics is coming after you? When, let me tell you these receipts, y'all, because the receipts are crazy. I put some on Instagram on my story. You had a dinner, a fundraising dinner in coordination, allegedly, with your PAC at Stake 48, mind you. And the tickets for donors to attend was $100,000. Who sells $100,000 tickets to a Stake 48 fundraising dinner? Sit down. Sit down. Like, I'm sitting here like $100,000. Let me be quiet. I ain't gonna pull out my finance book. But all I'm gonna say is $100,000 to go to a Jeff Brown fundraiser at Stake 48 of all places. And no shade, because I'm about to pull out even more. You know, you got all these union endorsements, but Stake 48 is having controversy with the unions. They're not union here. They're having controversy with unions. And you had your fundraiser there. But you're supposed to be Mr. Pro Union. I got all these union endorsements. But you literally had a fundraiser at Stake 48 right now in the midst of union controversy. What a hypocrite. $100,000 though? What kind of steak were they eating up in that month? What kind of food? Did they, I don't know. Was it gold tinted desserts with the cheesecake? Did you get was caviar just dripping all over the steak, all over the mashed? Did they just come in with a bunch of Austria, whatever, pouring it all over the shit? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what made that meal in that situation $100,000. They must have pulled out the finest Wagyu. And goddamn, everybody like Wagyu all of a sudden. But like goddamn, they must have had a Wagyu, exotic Wagyu with the most exotic caviar. And that plate they must have had like a porcelain plate that you could take home with gold, forks and spoons that you can take home, and maybe put Jeff Brown's face on it. I'm just trying to figure out, how do you pay $100,000 ticket to go to a fundraiser? I've never heard that much money. Do Obama have $100,000 fundraisers? I'm just trying to figure out. I've never seen $100,000. First of all, for Jeff Brown, y'all paid $100,000. First of all, y'all paid $100,000 to go see Jeff Brown. Was Oprah there? No. Who was there? Was it a concert? Because I know the whites, I know y'all love Bruce Springsteen. Was Bruce Springsteen performing? I'm just trying to understand. Did Taylor Swift come early? Did she sign autographs? I mean, I'm going to throw Beyonce in it, because Beyonce didn't perform in Dubai, child, for $24 million. With all that money in there, did Beyonce come? Did she do a Renaissance performance? Because Jeff Brown loved the blacks, apparently. Did Beyonce come? Did he send Beyonce? Because you charged $100,000 a ticket to go to a fundraiser at Stake 48. I want to know who all was in there. It could not be me. So when you got that much dark money, and we don't even know who them donors were, because I want to see the receipts. I want to see who the fuck spent $100,000 on Jeff Brown. Because whoever you were, let me tell you, come over here to PABJ. I can show you how you can best invest your money in nonprofits and support real causes. Philadelphia schools. Jeff Brown, you could throw a fundraiser like that for the Philadelphia school system. You'll be elected mayor tomorrow. $100,000 a ticket. Shit, I thought the Renaissance tickets was high. Shit. Jeff Brown, Beyonce. Shit, that's some Beyonce prices. Shit, that's the Abu Dhabi money. I'm trying to figure out what kind of money. Y'all, there was a flyer. $100,000 at Steak 48. That's not even the best steak restaurant in Philadelphia. No shade. I mean, the food is good at Steak 48, but it ain't the best, child. I mean, shit, that should have been at the Four Seasons. Did they get a massage? Did Jeff Brown give them a grocery store? That's the cost of a grocery. Did he give them a stock in ShopRite? I'm just trying to figure out. This man literally is out here in these streets every other day. You could literally catch a picture with Jeff. So what that tells me, and this is why I might sound like I'm ripping on this dude and drawing and bidding on him, as they say in Philly, but I'm making a point here. If somebody gives you $100,000 for your campaign, that person wants something, okay? They want something. They own you. You're a boss. Somebody gives you $100,000 at your campaign. What they're telling you is, I want something from you. Okay? Because I'm investing in you as a person. So if Jeff Brown gets elected, let me tell you something. Let me tell you the list of names before he gets to the phone and pick up the goddamn phone for a regular person. He gonna have to look at that list and say, who the fuck gave me $100,000 at my Steak 48 dinner? Because that's who I'm gonna talk to first. You can't see me. He got a ranking order. He probably got a rank and file order. Okay, $250,000, David Adelman, billionaire. $100,000, he probably did the math. He got a ranking order. He say, listen, he gonna tell his receptionist, don't answer the phone unless it's these people. If none of these people answer the phone, then you could put them online too. That's what it sounds like. That's what dark money looks like in politics, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like that. It looks like anonymous donors that the people don't know about, that is putting money in races with money that's out of the wazoo clearly, and the coordination of a candidate dealing with a PAC and dealing with donors. That's why they separate the PACs from the candidates. There's not supposed to be interaction. Them people that put money in the PAC is not supposed to have interaction and coordination with the candidate, because that's an ethics violation. Because basically what that means is this person can be a puppet for these fucking donors. So Jeff Brown is in some deep shit. And it doesn't matter how many of y'all like him and how many times he done came into your little community and gave you some free food. It doesn't fucking matter. Y'all better wake up. Shit's getting real. He wants to call it a political hit job, but he better have made a tip job. I want to know how much them servers was getting tipped. Because them servers probably, if you have an event with 100,000 per person, shit. Them servers probably got tips that they don't even have to work another day if they was tipping right. Good God. So, moving on. The biggest shocker to me in the mayoral debate at Fox 29 was not Jeff Brown's bullshit. I mean, Jeff Brown made that nasty comment about Chester and dumping the trash in Chester. You know, there was a moment. Sherelle Parker yelled that Gim's education plan was imaginary. There was a Chester trash comment. There was some weird rhetoric around stop and frisk. Sherelle Parker keeps talking about she supports constitutional stop and frisk. Now that is imaginary, Sherelle. I mean, seriously. You talking about Helen Gim's education plan is imaginary, which is fine, right? You can say that. But you talking about constitutional stop and frisk, child, that's imaginary. Yes. But the moment for me, the highlight for me, the thing that to me was the biggest T that's going to have a moment is that Helen Gim tried to throw shots at Jeff Brown. And in the situation, right, this is the moment that I'm going to remember. She said that it is kind of trash that they tried to buy one of the candidates on this stage, which was in regards to the $250,000 that people believe came from the Sixers to buy to a super PAC back in Jeff Brown, right? Brown said he did not know whether the 76ers donated to the independent expenditure group supporting his candidacy. He said, quote, to my knowledge, I don't think the Sixers organization even contributed. Then he said, I don't know, and it wouldn't matter to me anyway. Okay, Jeff. Sure, girl. But anywho, State Rep Ahmed Brown, of course, who also supports the Arena Project. Interesting. Questioned Gim when she threw that shot and asked her, did she recently meet with, David Adelman, despite, expressing her skepticism about that project. And in a moment that had me clutching my pearls, she said she did meet with David Adelman. She said she did meet with them, okay? She said that the two didn't discuss anything. Now let's back up before I get into the hot tea. Who meets a billionaire and don't discuss anything about them? As somebody, because I'm going to have a moment real quick, that has met with billionaires and spoken with billionaires, one billionaire particularly named Oprah Winfrey, who, I got flued out and met her and all that. Y'all remember that. That was a moment, right? You ain't talking to billionaires about nothing. I don't know what that means. Didn't discuss anything. What the fuck does that mean? You are a mayoral candidate who met with a billionaire developer of a project that's now being accused of trying to buy another opponent, and you're telling me you failed to mention that when you threw that shot? And you just said you just met with him? And then her campaign manager, okay, Brendan Phillips, I believe his name is, he said that it was a general meeting. Who has general meetings of billionaires? Where they do that at? I've never heard of that. What if I just said to y'all, I just had a general meeting with Oprah Winfrey, y'all. No, nothing big. We didn't discuss anything. I just went to LA and met her and then came back home. Child, we had all the conversation, okay? I had the time of my fucking life. I'm not gonna code you. The fuck you mean anything? Like, I just think that's that bullshit, y'all. That's the bullshit. That's the bullshit with Helen Yem. I'm sorry. We're less than a month away from the mayor's race. It's time for us to really talk about some of the things that's happening. That's bullshit. And voters that I've spoken to have expressed this. That's bullshit. How do you say, I had a meeting, and first of all, let's be clear, you got exposed. Just like she got exposed to the Union League. And let me also add that, like, isn't it weird that it's been a while since that situation at the Union League, but no one has ever really got to the bottom of asking Helen Yem, so why were you at the Union League? Like, why were you there? Because you could have been anywhere, but you went there. You said you made a mistake, whatever. But let's be clear. What did you make a mistake about? Because the question to me is, like, before you can even give an apology, you should be explaining your rationale for why you did it. I mean, you owe people an explanation. Just to simply say, I went and I shouldn't have went. Why did you go? I mean, people have been trying to imply why she went. That's cool, but I like to hear from the horse's mouth. I like to hear from the source. I like to hear from the person who is being alleged. I don't want to put words or assumptions in anybody's mouth. Why did Helen Yem go to the Union League? Why? What was her purpose? What was the reason? That's a real question. Why did she go? What was she there for? What was it about going that night in person that propelled her to go? And she could have took a call. She could have had a Zoom conference call with those people that was there. Why did she actually show up in spite of her hypocrisy? She's not answered that. Everybody's answering it for her. I think it's time for her to specifically answer that question. No tiptoeing around it. Why the fuck did you go? It's a real question. Now, back to this Alderman situation. In the beginning of the debate, she said that the two of them did not discuss anything. At the end of the debate, there was a rapid fire round of questions where they asked candidates yes or no on particular issues. I'm getting personally over that type of yes or no thing because honestly, at this point, if candidates are not going to agree to doing it, whatever. But a big moment happened. Helen Yem was the only candidate at the debate that said that she was not in favor explicitly of the arena. She said no. And she said in that moment that she told David Adelman, apparently at this meeting, I suppose, that she was not in favor of public subsidies for arena projects. So that was the reason, she said. Now, that to me is a bait and switch. You went from saying that you know that you didn't discuss anything with this man to then turn around saying that you told him you was not in favor of public subsidies. So now I have more questions than answers. So my question is, who decided to have that meeting? Did you choose to have the meeting or did he choose to have the meeting? That's the first question. The second question to follow up is, okay, so however that meeting happened, what the fuck was you there for? Because I don't just have a meeting with a billionaire. Did you ask him for money? Did he offer you money? Did you go there? I just don't understand what was the reason to have the meeting. I'm just trying to figure it out. And so all these progressives, these white progressives who act like this woman is just so thorough and so consistent, at some point you have to shut the fuck up, get out of your fucking feelings, and look at how weird and messed up this looks like. Because the shit on Twitter, all the little chit-chattery on Twitter, it's not changing black voters' perspective about these constant contradictions. Voters of color, black and brown voters, have a trust issue with Helen Yem. Now, some of you all who are progressives in the social justice movement, y'all are complete disciples of Helen Yem. Y'all worship her. She can't do no wrong. You are a sycophant. I get it. But to the rest of the voters that she's going to have to use and need or rely on or depend on to win the primary on May 16th, she can't win it doing this shit. So for the people who are consistently acting like those who are questioning her or looking at this shit and going, what? You gotta admit, it's getting hella sloppy. It's looking amateurish. It's looking rookie. You would think that after all these years, but see, this is the difference between running for mayor and running for city council at large. See, when you run for city council at large, you are protected from a lot of the controversy, to be honest, because you're in a race where there's so many candidates. And honestly, this year, for example, media has not really been focusing on the at-large candidates. I think most people know this is about to be a fucking wrap. I mean, I'm sorry. If I was to look at the polls today, I'm going to go there. It's controversial. I'm going to take a controversial position. But to be honest with you, if you ask me, and I'm not saying I'm endorsing any of these candidates, I'm just telling you what it looks like. If you ask me right now who's going to win at large, based on the way this shit is going, it is going to be Catherine Gimmer Richardson, Isaiah Thomas, Jim Harity, Rue Landau, and Aaron Satsamore. That's who's going to fucking win. If you ask me today who's going to win. I don't see anybody else breaking through. I don't see it. I think that's the top 5. 3 of those incumbents, and then 1 endorsed by the party and the other one that was close. Those will be the 5 people that's going to win city council at large. Remember this podcast. Remember this episode. Catherine Gimmer Richardson, Isaiah Thomas, Jim Harity, Rue Landau, Aaron Satsamore. That is going to be your new city council at large. Any questions? I just feel like it's a done bun there. People going to get in their feelings. People going to have hurt feelings. People going to be mad. They're going to say, why not this person? I don't care. Those are the people that's going to win. Mayor? We don't know. Mayor is still undecided. But when I'm looking at the antics that's happening right now, it is hard for me not to see it any other way. So the Fox 29 forum for me showed me the contradictions of a lot of these candidates. I'm still seeing contradictions. I'm still seeing mess. I'm still seeing unresolved conversations. I'm still seeing unresolved issues. So it's time for us to really wake up and see what we see. So stay woke, because there's a lot of people that are trying to play this game like they don't see any of these candidates. And it's time for us to get real here, right? It's time for us to wake up and really acknowledge some of the other things that we've been seeing, because it's yeah. So other forums that happened this week, I don't want to talk too much about them, but I will say that not everybody can have a forum. Okay, I'm gonna keep it classy because it's clergy again, y'all, and y'all know I'm not trying to come for the black clergy. The black clergy recently endorsed Cheryl Parker for mayor. And let me be clear, the black clergy, when I say black clergy, I'm not saying all the black pastors in Philadelphia, because a lot of them were not a part of that endorsement process, but there were a couple notable people, and they've endorsed Cheryl Parker. But some of them have not. Let me just be clear. It's not all the black clergy. It's just some of them, but they decided to name themselves black clergy, which is very misleading. But anyway, I digress. So the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church, I believe, they had a candidates forum with Black Media Matters, with WRD. They had people from the Philadelphia Tribune. They had people from Fun Times Magazine, the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, and at this Mayoral candidates forum. Now, the forum, the questions were fine, I suppose. I didn't have issue with the questions. What was interesting the most was they had like about 9 people. They had David O, who's a Republican. They had Warren Bloom and James DeLeon. What's her name? Delencia, is her name Delecia Gray? She wasn't there. I don't know why people are even, I'm trying to be respectful. I just don't know. There's certain candidates that I just can't take seriously right now. James DeLeon as a candidate speaking at a forum is so annoying. It's not necessarily him, it's his mouth, it's the way he talks. Not the vernac not the it's not the tone or the cadence of his voice. It's the way that he discusses things, the way he talks to people. It's very condescending. It's very smart alecky, and it's also just very naggy. Like he sounds like that naggy old uncle or dad that that just kind of is like, let me tell you, son. Did you do it, son? Like it's just like that very like very wagging your finger, let me tell you something kind of thing. And he does that like the entire forum. And it was just cringy to hear him talk because it's like everything, like I think he thinks he sounds smart, but he just sounds very mean and naggy. It just was very cringy. Warren Bloom is just mean and just a jerk. Like a jerk, like his personality, he's a jerk. Like the way that he's arrogant, he's cavalier. This guy is very insecure for various reasons. How you doing? The way that he talks about the other candidates, the way that his whole energy is just so negative. And the spar he had between Andrew Lawful Sanders, who's the moderator of the host of the forum, which in my personal opinion, given the things that she was dealing with personally, I felt like that environment only triggered her, and in many ways it was distracting from the forum, because at some point you're watching it. Like I watched it on Facebook. I didn't go to Enon and see it, but it's just like she dealt with a very serious emotional family matter, and she disclosed it on the debate. And I thought to myself, like, wow, that's a serious issue. Like, you shouldn't. I mean, someone else could have did that for him. You should have been reflecting and resting. Like, if I lost a loved one, I wouldn't fly and do a forum where I'm dealing with some very self-centered, arrogant, selfish candidates in a very heated, complex forum. Because there was times where you could just see that she was emotionally going to break, or she was going to just, she just was uncomfortable. You could just see it in the body language and the frustrations, the silence. And to me, as a voter and as a viewer watching it, it just was like, there's so much emotion in this room. And it was just sometimes just uncomfortable to watch. And I think it took away some of the energy and the soul and the life of the forum, because there was like eggshells in there. You can see it and you can watch it. And I just think what I would tell my fellow journalists and people in media, because not everybody in media is a journalist, but what I would say to people that get involved in this work, that like, if something goes down in your life, take that time. Like, I am always about that. Like, if I've been fortunate enough, knocking on wood, I haven't had any loss in my family or anybody, in a long time. But I remember when I did 10 years ago, and I just remember just being like, look, I gotta take some time off. And I need to. Other plans, reschedule them, but I need to take some time to myself, because I knew my mood, I knew where my head was at, and I just knew that I couldn't contribute the best work if I was in a situation of that type of emotional baggage. So I just sometimes would urge people, like, you don't always got to be in the limelight or the attention or the situation like that. Sometimes it's okay to say no to things. And the people that's offering those things, be considerate that even if a person says yes, think about the best interest of your program. Because I think there was a lot of missed opportunities based on the emotions that were felt. So that just was something that stood out to me. Honestly, I wasn't really a fan of the question flow. What it was, they would pick up a random question and then they would ask 3 random people about the question. And they went through so many questions, and I guess it was useful, but it just kind of dragged a little bit. It kind of felt a little boring at times, and I don't know if they maximized the space. And so a lot of this information I've researched to make sure that my forum is going to be different. And I hope that you all see that. There was another forum with Carl Day and Bilal Quayloon, Pastor Carl Day, of course, you know him, and Bilal Quayloon, who does the Father's Day organization or something like that he does for Black men and fathers and whatnot. So they did a Mayoral Candace forum. I don't know who all went to that. A couple of standouts. Helen Gim was there, Jeff Brown, Rebecca Reinhardt. Those were, I think Amin Brown went. A couple of people I think were there. Now, what I heard about that forum was that it was a little messy and disrespectful, not from Well, first of all, at the E9 event, there was a person that had to be escorted out by security because they just had a complete total meltdown in the middle of the forum. And it got really combative to the point that security had to literally take the person out. It was wild, y'all. So, you know, you got to keep an eye out for stuff like that. So then in this situation, apparently there was a lot of city council at large candidates that went. And a lot of these city council candidates went. And while the forum was going on, they were walking around, passing out their campaign material, having sidebar conversations, and trying to shake hands to get face exposure in the middle of a fucking mayoral forum. And so I will say that with my particular situation, I'm making it a point not to really bring mayoral city council candidates. This is about the mayoral candidates. So if you running for another seat, I don't think I have any city council candidates running for election, like any non-incumbents running. Like most of the incumbents that are coming, they're not really coming to promote themselves. And this is an event that I'm not allowing any last minute visitors to attend because it's not about you. It's about the mayoral candidates and the whole coming in and censoring yourself, trying to make a show and flex. This is not that. This is about the mayor's candidates. This is about the future of Philadelphia. This is about the next 100th mayor. And so I'm really big on not trying to have the circus because I'm over that. So that's a big deal for me. But overall, you know, this is going to be an interesting cycle. Philadelphia got a lot to, as you can see, this week is going to be litty lit. And I'm looking forward to it. So wrapping up the show with some entertainment news and some other things. Jamie Foxx is hospitalized. Like I didn't see that coming. I don't think anyone did. It's kind of unfortunate. He had his daughter, who's young and beautiful, who's done some shows with him. She announced that he had a health situation. They didn't disclose what it is. There's been speculation online that it could be possibly a stroke, but he is under stable condition. Last time I checked, people said, well, why did she put this information out? I think because we're in a day and age where TMZ is going to tell people's business without their consent. And so a lot of times family like to get ahead of the story and create the narrative and force everyone to follow through on it. And I think that's a good thing. Like something like that, you want to be able to control it. And because he's in the middle of a film with Netflix that he's involved with, I think they figured the information was going to leak. Maybe the incident took place or probably happened on the set. We don't know. But they wanted to get ahead of any of the bullshit and control the narrative. So I thought as a communications person, that was very strategic and smart on them. Some people might have thought, well, why are you putting it out there? No, they did it because what's interesting is that right after that information went out from the family and from the sister, from the daughter, then TMZ started putting out all kind of like stuff. And I just think sometimes like let people have privacy. Like who fucking cares? Leave people alone. It's just heartless. And so I just wish Jamie Foxx a speedy recovery. He is an icon. He's the first Black actor in history to receive 2 acting nominations. And this is whether male or woman actor or actress that's Black. But the first Black entertainer to get 2 nominations in 2 acting categories at the same damn time. Now, there has been people who have gotten, Mary J. Blige was the first Black woman to receive a song, artists in general to receive an acting and song Oscar nomination in the same year. And that was for Mudbound when she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress and she got the Best Original Song nomination for a song she did in Mudbound. But Jamie Foxx received 2 acting nominations. And this is back in like around 2005, 2004. He won for Ray, but he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in that Tom Cruise film Collateral that he also was in. And that was kind of dope. Like, imagine being nominated for Best Actor and Supporting Actor in the same year. You get to go to the Oscars as a double nominee. And there's a lot of people who've done that in history. Cate Blanchett did that. Julianne Moore did it. Cate Blanchett did it with I'm Not Here for Supporting Actress. She played Bob Dylan. And then it was Elizabeth, the Golden Age. And then Julianne Moore did it for The Hours for Best Supporting Actress, which was a phenomenal role. The Hours is one of my favorite films, sidebar. And then Best Actress for Far From Heaven, which is also another great film. And she was nominated for Best Lead Actress. So it is possible to pull this off. Other people have pulled this off, but Jamie Foxx was the first Black entertainer to do it. So that's my cool fun fact with Jamie Foxx. And he's also a Grammy winner. If you ever thought about somebody who's close to EGOT, Jamie Foxx, if he really, really, really wanted it, he could get EGOT. He's got it in him. I could see him getting a Tony. I could see him getting an Emmy. I mean, the fact they get an Oscar and Grammy, those are the hardest ones to typically get, is the Oscar and the Grammy. But for him to get Tony and Emmy is still possible. He's gotten the Emmy nomination, I believe, before. But that Tony, both. He needs to get both. So we'll see. But yeah, I just, thoughts and prayers go out to him. As far as movies go, they put out a preview of the new Wicked, which I am losing my mind. Wicked is one of my favorite all-time musicals. Wicked Part 1, it's a two-part film, but Part 1 is coming out November 27, 2024. So John M. Chu is the director. He directed, of course, the Lion King live action remake. Cynthia Erivo is playing Alphaba, and Ariana Grande is playing Glinda. And Michelle Yeoh, Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh, is playing Madame Morrible. And Jonathan Bailey is in it playing Fiyero, for those who know who he is. Kristen Chenoweth apparently might be in it. Jeff Goldblum. There's a lot of interesting castmates that are going to be in this film. Bowen Yang is going to be in it apparently. But it's going to be a nice little cast. It's looking really good. So I'm excited to see who else is in it. Lots of actors and big names that's going to be in the film. So Jeff Goldblum is playing the wizard. Michelle Yeoh is playing Madame Morrible. Again, Cynthia Erivo is playing Alphaba. Jonathan Bailey is playing Fiyero. Ariana Grande is playing Glinda. Adam James is playing her father. Bowen Yang is playing Thiani, I think it is. But it's going to be a lot of nice cast members. So I'm excited. When they put out the first work on the film, they kind of just gave us some images, a sneak peek. My body is ready. There's just films that I cannot wait to come out, but they're already putting it out. And then, of course, The Color Purple, that cast, oh my God. I can't wait to see who is when that film comes out. So there's a lot of talk about the film. The cast of the film it's wild. There's like everybody and their mama is in this film. Fantasia is playing Celie, which is what she played at the Broadway version. Coleman Domingo is playing Mister. He's also about to play Bayard Rustin in the film coming out. Oscar buzz. Haley Bailey is playing Nettie, who's just about to play in The Little Mermaid. Taraji P. Henson and Shug Avery. Corey Hawkins is playing Harpo. Her is playing Squeak, which is cool. Danielle Brooks is playing Sophia, which is iconic. It's a big cast. Sierra's in the film, playing someone in the film. There's a bunch of different people. I think she's playing Nessa. I think she is playing. It's going to be a lot of people for sure. So it's giving Oscar buzz. It's giving Oscar buzz. I'm not going to hold you. Everybody's like waiting to see when this film is going to come out and how big it's going to be. There's been a lot of expectations, high expectations about this film. It comes out December 20th. But then I heard it might be coming out Christmas. But it's going to be a big deal. And if people don't know, Oprah's first book club book was The Color Purple. Okay, so yeah. So that was technically her first book club in 1982. When she read a review in the New York Times about the book, she said she went to a bookstore, she got the book. She told this to Vanity Fair in an interview recently, and she read the book that day. Then went to the bookstore and bought every copy she had, and then gave it out to everybody she knew. And so she has been in love with this Alice Walker book for over 40 years. Like, The Color Purple in Oprah's life is like wild. She got an Oscar nomination for playing Sophia, the original Sophia, in the film. And then she produced the Broadway musical. And now she's producing the film with Steven Spielberg. So that's just just royalty. Oprah's iconic. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to these films. Looking forward to that. So people, the fans, you all have asked me, a lot of listeners, about what did I think about Billy Porter being announced as playing James Baldwin upcoming biopic. I'm mixed on that. I'm sorry. I should be happy because finally we love to see Black queer people or queer actors play queer roles, right? Because listen, the best straight person to ever play a queer role was Sean Penn as Harvey Milk. I have to say, he was a great Harvey Milk. And maybe Hilary Swank. But Boys Don't Cry and Tina Brandon, that story, I got some thoughts about it, but I don't want to get all into it. But there is a documentary, I think, on HBO Max called Transparent. I think that's what it's called. It's a documentary. I think that's what it's called. It was a documentary that came out, and I think it was called It was a trans film documentary about the history of transgender film, and I'm trying to remember what it came out during the pandemic. And it was called Disclosure. It was called Disclosure, and it came out in 2020. And I watched it, and it was a big deal. And I remember watching that documentary. It was called Disclosure. It came out. It's on Netflix. That's what it was, a Netflix documentary. So it was called Disclosure. It had a couple of people I know. It had Laverne Cox. It had a couple other actors, and people talk about it. Angelica Ross, I think, was in it. Someone else I'm thinking about who was a big deal, that also talked about Janet Mock. Janet Mock was in it as well. So it was called Disclosure, and I highly recommend you watch it. If you haven't watched the film, watch Disclosure, Netflix documentary on transgender film in Hollywood. It's a very powerful documentary. So this documentary talked about Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank in the Tina Brandon film. And what they don't tell you is that in the film, they erased that there was a Black queer person, I believe a Black trans person that was a part of that film and was also one of the people that got killed in the shooting exchange. I don't want to tell too much about it. You should watch it. But it was a very interesting situation where someone had got killed, and they completely erased this Black trans character, and that was very telling. That this Black trans character that was involved in the film was completely erased out of the entire narrative of the film. So that has made me basically side eye some of the stuff that I've seen. Just putting that out there. But moving along, music. Look, I've been following SZA. SZA has been having some great buzz lately. This collaboration with Doja Cat was the Kill Bill song. I think that she's trying to shoot for a number one. She wants to crack and get a number one on Billboard, a number one single. She has a number one album, but she wants a number one single. So I'm staying tuned to the Billboard Hot 100 for that. Coachella, I've been following it. I'm not really hype about it. I mean, I know the second weekend, there's like 3 weekends or whatever, I guess, of it. So we're gonna have to see this shit all over. I don't know. I don't know who performed. Was it Becky G or something? I mean, Bad Bunny maybe. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm not really crazy about the festival. I don't really know what's going on. It just, I don't know. I think after Beyonce, it just have not felt like mandatory viewing. It just feels like, okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older. I'm just aging out of interest, but I don't know. It just don't seem like Coachella is the music festival used to be, perhaps. So, moving along, there's 2 things happening. So, Chloe is in Philadelphia this week. She's doing her tour. I have to say, I have mixed thoughts about Chloe right now. I feel for her. The album was a huge flop. It charted at 112 on the Billboard Hot 100. I mean, the Billboard 200. I'm sorry, the Billboard 200. The album debuted at the bottom 112. I wanna say, I think I saw that. Let me Let me confirm, but it was not becoming at all. The Billboard, the charts was just not charting. So I'm looking at the charts right now, and at first I thought, you know, I was missing the numbers because, SZA came in. Tyler the Creator's album is that the new deluxe edition is number 3 on the charts. That Morgan Wallen, who said the N word, is number 1 with his new album on the charts. He's been on the charts for 6 weeks at number 1, which just goes to show you how cancel culture is not the same for everybody. I'm just looking at these charts right now, and as I'm scrolling down, I'm not seeing Chloe's album. So I'm under the impression, I'm just going to jump to the 100s so I can see if this was true. Um, Chloe, oh my God, my bad. Chloe's new album debuted at 119 on the Billboard 200. It debuted at 119 on the Billboard Top 200. I'm not throwing shade, but that is a flop. And I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm just saying that for her to have had all of the singles, for her to be an artist that has had tons of singles, there's never been that is terrible. She had at least 6 or 7 singles, music videos. In my head, I would have never guessed that she would debut at 119 as an artist on a label that is helmed by Beyonce. And I'm not saying that Beyonce is responsible for this flop. I'm just saying that she has literally had singles after singles, videos after videos, all the promotion. She was in 2 films. One on Peacock, one on Amazon Prime. She's had overexposure. She's had tons of magazine covers. And she premieres and debuts at 119. Let me tell you albums that are ahead of her right now. Steve Lacy, who is trash, is 117. Billie Eilish's When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, which has been on the charts for 210 weeks, is ahead of her. Okay? Post Malone is 105 on the charts, and that's Beer Bongs and Bentleys. There's albums that are much older than hers that are charting. Even Chris Brown's album, Indigo, which came out 115 3 weeks ago, is at number 95. Michael Jackson's Thriller, which has been on the charts for 568 weeks, is number 92 on the charts. The Hamilton soundtrack is number 92, and it's been out for over years. I'm just saying. Even Journey's greatest hits. Taylor Swift's Speak Now album is number 79 on the Billboard charts. And it's been out for years. So you got all these old-ass albums that are on the charts that's charting higher than her very brand spanking new album. People have been asking me, why did this happen? You know music, Ernest. You study the charts. You know about sales. I think what happened with her album specifically is that, for starters, she deviated from what her singles were. I thought that those recent singles, like Treat Me is a bop, I thought she was going to put some of those singles on the new album so that it would guarantee chart placement. The problem is that the whole album, the new album, she put none of those new songs out. She only had one song with Chris Brown that was on there. And that single never really charted. It never really charted. The Chris Brown effect never really made an impact. And so the album, all those singles she did, I think fans thought when the album came out, they were going to be able to hear some of those with the other new songs. None of those singles were on the new album for the most part. Most of those singles were not. And then at the last minute, she dropped all these singles leading up to it, but it was no one had time to process it. The tour has been weird because she's been canceling certain dates. The dates that she has done, she's had good crowds, but she's even canceled dates. And people say, well, why was she canceling those tours? She was canceling those dates out because she didn't have no real audience. No one was buying tickets. She's still doing Philly. Philly's supposed to be nice, but even the tour itself is very small. It's downscale. And I'm not saying she needs to have an arena, but even like she's not doing a night. These venues are very like club stages, small background stages. She's got some dancers. She doesn't have much runway. There's not much effect. It's just very low budget. I don't know how much the fans are paying for tickets. Maybe tickets are cheap, but it just seems like this is just not popping. Now, I have suspicions because the tour run is very, very small. I have suspicions that she's most likely going to probably perform or land on Beyonce's tour. And maybe from the buzz around her tour, Beyonce's Renaissance tour, that possibly can create a situation for the album to get more momentum and chart better. Because right now, 119 on the charts. I mean, I hope that she gets better. Maybe there'll be more uptick because of her recent interviews, like on Drew Barry. She was on the Drew Barrymore show. She made some other appearances. Maybe there could be some more traction to get her in the top 100. But she's not even in the top 100 right now. I mean, it's just not good. People are blaming Beyonce, said Beyonce could have showed some love and shot her out. But then I think maybe there was a concerted effort to try to give Chloe full independence. But the A&R just wasn't there. A lot of things were just missing. And I don't know, because the sister is killing it. You know, the sister is killing it. Let me just say that. You know, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that says something. So, you know, we'll see what happens with her, but it's not looking too fabulous. As far as Chris Brown collaboration, Sierra is now collaborating with Chris Brown, allegedly. Chris Brown put on Instagram that him and Sierra are working on some things. Can I just say that this collaboration is like 15 years old and that both of these people are washed up as artists? I mean, Sierra is a great model, a great wife, a great mother, a great public figure. But as an artist, as a music artist, let's just keep 100. The music is trash. I mean, the new music is not good. And that doesn't mean she's not a good person, but the music is just not good anymore. And I just don't know why she do it. I think she should just do it for sport. You know how some people are just rich and don't got nothing else to do with their spare time? I feel like Sierra's bored. But like, Sierra, you and Chris Brown, I don't know why you're doing this. Why are people still collaborating with Chris Brown? It's like giving the death kiss to their career. Like this is old. When you was with Bow Wow and Lil Jon, that's when you should have been doing music with Chris Brown. That was long before all the controversy. This should have been like in 2008 or some shit. Like when you was relevant and he was way more palpable as an artist. I just don't get it. I'm not a fan. Just what is going on here? As far as TV goes, loving my TV. Bel-Air is great. It's getting spicy, y'all. I feel like we're getting close to like the finale's coming soon. Abbott Elementary's finale is coming soon. I think the finale is next week of Abbott. I mean, no, this week, this Wednesday, the finale of Abbott Elementary is coming. So I'm following that. Power Book 2. I don't want to reveal it for people who haven't watched, but for those who do, spoiler alert, Monet found out and she handled it. Ha ha ha, if you know what I'm talking about. Mary J. Blige is just killing it. I'm going to always defend the Mary J. I'm a part of the Mary J. Blige, Monet, Tejada tribe, stan club, standum, official stan club of Mary J. Blige acting. Don't forget she was an Oscar nominee, okay? MJB all day. Don't play with it. I think she's just great in this show, and the show is getting spicy. I really do like Power Book 2. I'm obsessed. I will actually say this, and this is going to be controversial, but whatever. I think that Power Book 2 is better than Original Power. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I don't care what anybody say. I feel like it's better. There's been 6 seasons of Power, but I feel like Power Book 2 can if they do right, they can keep this going. I feel like initially people were skeptical, but I really do like Tariq's character. I mean, let me clarify. I don't really like his character's a little annoying. That little New York snotty nose accent is annoying. But I will say I do appreciate that the show has great characters. Like Method Man and Mary J. Blige is a steal. I just like the other I like the story. I just like the other things going on with this show. It's just so good. And as a spin-off show, it's just got its own identity, its own flavor. I love it. I like it more than Original Power. I just feel like the Original Power was super gritty, super violent. This show got violent moments, but they also have other things they're doing with it. So I really do like this show a lot. I just have to say that. Bel Air, like I said, does not disappoint every week. We're definitely close to the final 2 episodes of this season. I thought that after the first season, I was going to be like, okay, that's it. But this is really moving on me. And I hope they renew it for season 3 because it really is growing on me. Baddies West is coming to a nice conclusion. I must say that my addiction to Baddies West on, Zeus, I'm starting to rethink my interest in the show. I mean, it's there, it's on TV, but I'm starting to be like, why is this show? Why? What's the point? There was a moment, but I don't know the point. But Bad Boys. Remember Bad Boys, the show that was complement to Baddies? Bad Boys is in Texas this season. This show is about to come right after, I believe, Baddies West. I looked at the new cast. They have Prince from Love and Hip Hop Miami. Now, if you've been following Love and Hip Hop Miami, remember Prince. Prince was very messy. He was always in some shit. So Prince is in this show. Rasby from B2K, he's on the show. Who else is on the show that's a cast member? Kirk Franklin's son came back, which is very interesting. I didn't see that coming. Milan Christopher is not on the show anymore. Love that. Love that for Zeus. Thank God. But the big mouth drop for me was Orlando Brown from That's So Raven. He is on this show, and he's a hot-ass mess. He's on the show. So you got Rasby, Orlando Brown on the same show with these other nuts, these other crazy guys. This is fire. I'm trying to figure out, is people coming out? I've heard rumors. I don't want to, I mean, it's a messy show. I want to see, and are they going to be fighting? I just hope that, I don't want them to fight, but I feel like they're all going to fight. But this is a black gay male mess. I'm excited. I'm anticipating. I know it's nice to look at other people's mess. That's not your mess, right? So I'm definitely going to sit back and watch and see how this plays out. And then of course Succession. Okay, so we can now, if you're not a Succession fan, I don't know what to tell you, but Logan is dead, right? We know the father is dead. It's over. He's dead. I gagged last week when that happened. I didn't see it coming. But now the family is in their shit. They back on their shit. We thought they was a united family. Now people starting to pull out the knives again with the fuck shit. And we're in for a bumpy ride these next 6 episodes. Or 7 episodes. 6 episodes. Yeah, these next 6 episodes, we're in for a ride. So I'm just going to buckle up for the rest of this final season. Season 4. They're going to bring on the drama. We already know it's getting real. It's already messed. They already getting messed. This man been dead for 24 hours and they already picking new CEOs and shit. I don't want to tell the show for those who haven't watched this episode, but they killed Logan. I didn't see that in the playbook, okay? So there's a lot going on. But I'm also in the campaign for Sarah Snook to win that Emmy. It's time to put Sarah Snook in the lead actress category. Stop putting her in supporting actress. Move her the fuck up to lead actress and give it to her. Because I believe Zendaya is not nominated this year. I don't think Euphoria is coming back in time for Emmy consideration. So who is going to get the lead actress Emmy? Because Zendaya is out, right? She's gone. Who typically gets it, right? Somebody from The Crown. I feel like The Crown this season was weak. It was a good season, but I don't think there's a strong lead actress this year for The Crown. So I don't see it. Imelda Stampart, she's a good actress, a good British actress, but she just wasn't, to me, she should not be winning, okay? Zendaya's out, so then who's left? Sarah Snook for the lead actress. Now, if I had my current roster, for the acting categories, I would say best lead actor Emmy for drama. I don't know. I'm still going to see how Succession plays out. There's a question mark there. Lead actress should go to Sarah Snook in Succession. I would say Kieran Culkin for Best Supporting Actress this season. Tom, I mean, it's a little too early. We don't know how Tom's going to show up. But I feel like Kieran Culkin needs to get that supporting actor Emmy. He should get it like this season. This should be his season, to be honest. Best Supporting Actress drama. The verdict is still out. We'll see what happens with Jay Cameron, the actress, and Jerry's character. Maybe Jerry's going to surprise us. But I think they need to move Sarah Snook to the lead actress category, and she should just win that Emmy once and for all. For comedy, I predict that Quinta Brunson will finally win Best Lead Actress. I know that Jean Smart won 2 roles for Hacks, but Abbott Elementary is in its full groove. It had a full-fledged season, multiple episodes, multiple wins. I feel like Quinta Brunson is going to win the lead actress. I really think this season is her season, and this has been a good damn season. Best actor in a comedy series? I don't know. They might give it to old boy for Ted Lasso. They might give it to him again, Sudeikis or whatever his name is, last name Sudeikis. I think supporting actress, I don't know. I can see Shirley Ralph getting it again, but Janelle James just looks so ripe and ready to take that over. I don't know. It's still weird. It's been interesting lately seeing the category, but Janelle James won the NAACP Awards, Image Awards. I can see Janelle James getting it. I don't want it, I don't know. I can see her getting it though. So Jason Sudeikis is who I'm thinking is going to win Best Lead Actor in Comedy. Best Supporting Actor, I can see Jesse Tyler Williams getting it. James Tyler. Oh, Tyler James Williams. I keep getting names wrong. Tyler James Williams, I think he can get the Emmy this year for Best Supporting Actor in Comedy for Abbott Elementary. He won the Golden Globe. I can see it for him. I can see that possibility. But we'll see. There's so many opportunities to see who wins at the Emmys. Because so many shows there's not been any shows going. So we could see a different change of events. Quinta Brunson won Best Actress in a Comedy at the Golden Globes recently for Abbott Elementary. So there's some potential there. And Best Series, I think Abbott Elementary is going to take it. I think Best Comedy Series is going to Abbott Elementary at the Emmys. If I was ranking things right now, I feel like they're a lock-in. I feel like Ted Lasso won 2 seasons in a row. I don't think Ted Lasso's a bad show. I just think it's time for new blood and new people. So that's where I stand on that. This was a long podcast episode. But, a lot went down. So, this week, we got a lot going on. I want to see how my Candace Forum is going to turn out. This book topic, the book tour is pursuing. We're going to be at Bayou, of course, as you know, on Tuesday. I'm curious to see what other political surprises might take foot and take off. There's a lot of things right now, y'all. We're in the final month. The countdown is here. We're days away before we're weeks away before we elect the next 100th mayor of Philadelphia. So, stay tuned. And as I always say, be well and be best. Earnestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Earnestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.